Request a free quote today and get ready to work with the temporary fence pros. Master Fence. Call 866-622-0822. 866-622-0822. Or online, masterfencerental.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
A World War II vet is getting some help restoring a 67 Mustang after he got ripped off by a scammer who had initially promised to do the restoration. Instead, the man hired to do the job stole things like the engine, bumper, hood, other parts. So the community stepped in to help Harry Donovan after reading about his story in the Indianapolis Star. It's a car he purchased for his wife 50 years ago. The new crack at restoration is courtesy of a group of car guys, veterans organizations, and others who offered to help. The goal is to get it restored without Mr. Donovan having to pay twice. If all goes as planned, Mr. Donovan, who's 95, will get the car back fully restored in about 6 months. He's an Air Force pilot who flew missions over Germany during World War II and says while he still has a driver's license, doesn't expect to drive the car when it's finished. However, he expects his grandson to drive him for the maiden voyage in the restored Mustang. That'll do it for this hour. For Marcy Norton, I'm Gordon Deal. Thanks for listening to This Morning, America's First News.
Your world is in transition. You and I know that. Some of these transitions we like. Social media, smartphones, the internet. Some of them we don't. Global economics and social beliefs that are in upheaval. In this fast-changing world, you need a trusted friend to turn to. A friend to walk with you and turn transition into transformation. Join me, Steve Beeman, for The Steve Beeman Show with my co-host Carol Parisi, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock on AM 560 The Answer. Let us partner with you and empower you to make it a better week ahead.
Hey, what's up? Holla at ya, boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got The Answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's the first hurricane to hit Florida in 11 years. And Hermine came ashore early this morning in the Tallahassee area.
The state capital city taking a beating overnight. The storm knocking out power to more than 70,000 customers, including the entire Florida State University campus.
Fox's Jonathan Seri outside in Panama City says many areas east and south of the storm were also hit.
Suffering from heavy rains, heavy winds, and a record storm surge overnight.
There was flooding in the Tampa Bay area. Now Hermine is a tropical storm, downgraded already. Moving into Georgia, tornadoes are a threat, and
we've seen rainfall estimates of close to 2 feet. That's going to continue off the Carolina coastline up towards the Delmarva over the next couple of days.
That's Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. Hawaiians are tracking Hurricane Lester and hope it stays on its current track to pass just north of the islands over the weekend. Tropical Storm Madeline the other day went just south of the Big Island. Donald Trump will get another intelligence briefing today as the Republican presidential nominee.
This is a unique chance, really, to push back on the notion that he's dangerous, try and show off his credentials as a potential commander-in-chief, as he did a couple of days ago in Mexico. You remember, Trump took heat, though, for stories emerging from his meeting with the Mexican president. Controversy over whether or not the issue of Mexico paying for the wall came up.
Fox's Ed Henry. He didn't sit this time. Colin Kaepernick took a knee during last night's national anthem before the 49ers Chargers preseason NFL game in San Diego, and then the quarterback was booed as he took the field on NFL Network. Kaepernick's controversial refusal to stand during the anthem in protest to what he sees as wrongs in America, like police brutality. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This morning we have some clouds and 66 degrees. It's 5:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to help deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times Mayor will plan to hire hundreds of additional police officers. O'Connor says the city's dealing with a staff shortage in the police department that can no longer be addressed with overtime. Meantime, Chicago's police union is repeating its call for officers to resist working overtime shifts over the Labor Day weekend. Sun-Times says that the FOP, in a memo to rank and file, has declared the weekend FOP Unity Days and is suggesting officers spend time with their families. The union says it's a protest over the continued disrespect of Chicago police and the killings of police across the country. Governor Bruce Rauner has laid off 29 IDOT employees who were among those improperly hired based on political connections. The Republican said yesterday he issued the notices to the so-called staff assistants, patronage hires, brought on by skirting personnel rules under two previous Democratic governors. A man is being held without bail in the 1991 rape and murder case of a teen in South suburban Dixmoor. Willie Randolph appeared yesterday in a Markham courthouse on charges of murder, kidnapping, and predatory criminal sexual assault, accused in the rape and killing of 14-year-old Cateresa Matthews. Meantime, Cook County prosecutors are apologizing to 5 men wrongly convicted and imprisoned in the 1991 rape and fatal shooting of that suburban girl. Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez issuing a statement after a judge denied bond to Willie Randolph. The Dixmoor 5 spent more than a decade in prison. A church deacon in suburban Roselle is accused of sexually assaulting a young girl. Timothy Peltz appeared in DuPage County Court yesterday on charges of predatory criminal sexual assault. Prosecutors say he assaulted the victim repeatedly over a 10-year period. He was a deacon at the Living Hope Bible Church in Roselle. Chicago sports, Bears over Cleveland, 21-7. Rookie Jordan Howard had a 16-yard TD run. Robbie Gould kicked 3 field goals. College football, Western Illinois over Eastern Illinois. Steve McShane rushing for a career-high 207 yards. Cubs beat San Francisco 5-4. Addison Russell hit a 2-run single with the bases loaded in the 7th. And it was Minnesota over the White Sox 8-5. Twins ending a 13-game losing skid. The news a service of Cabela's. It's time to gear up at Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days. Find great deals on the latest hunting gear and outdoor apparel. Save $30 on a Bushnell B12 trail camera. Don't miss Cabela's Fall Great Outdoors Days in Hoffman Estates in Hammond, Indiana. 5:05 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Marxists, socialists, and communists forget the government doesn't have any money.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
Except money it took from someone who is producing money. Government creates no money. The only way the government has money is if it took it from one of us. And so the only way that it would have money to give these people is if it took more from the other people. Thus, Marxism, communism.
Dave Ramsey, weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
It's fall flooring season. Get incredible deals on the latest trends at Lumber Liquidators Fall Flooring Kickoff Sale. We've got 100 new flooring styles, new colors, new textures, even new waterproof floors. Choose from over 60 varieties of North American and European laminate from 39 cents a square foot. Pre-finished hardwood from $1.29. Get $1 off Bellawood pre-finished hardwood. Save on the hottest styles in vinyl plank, bamboo, and more. Plus special financing. Visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you and get to the Fall Flooring Kickoff Sale by Tuesday.
Mike Rowe here for 1 hour. Today, Chuck is jogging in place to make a point about energy efficiency.
I thought I was training for a marathon.
He's been at it now for...
3 minutes.
And already he's wearing out.
I'm not.
Your heating and air conditioning systems are a lot like Chuck.
Warm yet somehow cool?
Wheezing, wasting energy, and probably headed for replacement.
You're talking about the air systems, right?
Sure, pal. Sure. Call 1 hour before it's too late.
Can you do the disclaimer for me?
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Thanks.
5:06. Check the roads this early morning. In our AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jim
Trump
Talamonte.
talks
Good
veterans
Friday morning,
health care
Jim.
before the American Legion, and as with immigration, he's got a plan and Hillary's got a record.
We're back at 5 AM 560.
On the
The
Stevenson
answer.
due to overnight road construction. It's stop and go from the Rhine to California Avenue. 42 minutes from Lakeshore Drive to 355. Inbound, it's fine at 34 minutes. The Eisenhower's cleared up. There were some outbound delays around 1st Avenue to 25th in that area, but the Eisenhower now looks fine in both directions. The Edens is clear, so is the Kennedy. The Rhine has a little outbound work, but no delays right now. I-57 and the Bishop Porter good. Roselawn, Indiana, State Road 10 has been closed for several hours just east of I-65 due to a much earlier collision. There are closures on the west side of Chicago for the North Coast Music Festival, affecting stretches of northbound Ashland as well as Washington and Randolph. Traffic service at Cabela's. Time to gear up at Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days. Find great deals on the latest hunting gear and outdoor apparel. Save $30 on a Bushnell B12 trail camera. Don't miss Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days at Hoffman Estates in Hammond. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. The latest this morning with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, a full day of sunshine with a high of 74. Then tonight it will be clear with a low of 57. Another full day of sunshine tomorrow, high 77, and a partly cloudy night, low 59. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
64 at O'Hare, 67 along the lakefront, 58 this morning in Aurora. Hello, fall. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So how about those Chicago Bears firing right into that regular season, huh? 21-7, big win.
It's huge.
Yep.
Huge, as Donald Trump would say.
All right, that's enough Bears talk.
Hey, there's hope, you know? But they have the first game against Houston next Sunday.
Yeah.
Are you a big believer, Dan? Is this the year?
No, they're terrible. They're a terrible team. But
they won last night, though. You can't take that win away from them.
No, and the good news is Jay Cutler has been replaced. This is the most kind of disagreeable, unpopular quarterback in the NFL by Colin Kaepernick, who, as we previewed yesterday, was on display in San Diego for Salute to Military Night.
Isn't that great? I mean, that is karma right there. That was their 28th annual event. It had nothing to do with the fact that Colin Kaepernick was coming to town. It's what they do every year. Their 28th year of saluting the military.
And instead of sitting on his hindquarters, Kaepernick took a knee.
Oh, that's so sweet.
This was apparently after a 90-minute discussion with Nate Boyer, who is former Army Green Beret and a long snapper for the 49ers. Also, safety Eric Reed, first-round draft pick out of LSU.
Yeah, I saw him trying to get in on the action there.
He did get in on the action.
Yeah, he kneeled next to him.
So Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick kneeled on the sideline during the national anthem after a discussion with their teammate Nate Boyer, former Army Green Beret, to try and be more respectful to those offended by his protest, but nonetheless continue the protest. Kaepernick said, we're talking to him about how we get the message back on track and not the message back on track.
He's not going to be around next week.
What is the message again? Oh, we have Kaepernick explaining the message, but you want to get it back on track and not take away from the military, not take away from pride in our country, but keep the focus on what the issues really are. I'll tell you what, Kaepernick is.
You read that so well.
Well, Kaepernick is really he's becoming like it's almost like Hillary Clinton quality politician. He describes wanting to have a conversation about issues without ever saying what the issues are, other than, of course, the police. And the most compelling argument he's made to date is with his choice of footwear.
Yeah, he's taken this protest down to his toes. Did you like that? I wrote that headline for you.
Wow.
taking the protest down to his toes.
I'm sending that right over to the New York Post.
So he's been wearing socks. Did you see it? He's depicting a police officer as pigs in protest.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah.
This Colin Kaepernick, this just in, Bill Ayers and the Weathermen called and they want their socks back.
That's good.
Also,
well, he's been wearing it because he's upset with alleged police brutality. And he said, I wore these socks in the past.
Subtle.
Yeah, here, wait. I wore these socks in the past because the rogue cops that are allowed to hold positions in police departments not only put the community in danger, but also put the cops that have the right intentions in danger by creating an environment of tension and mistrust. I have 2 uncles and friends who are police officers. I didn't know that. And serve all people. So before these socks, which were worn before I took my public stance, are used to distract from the real issue, I want to address this immediately.
Sure, he put those socks on so as to not distract from the real issue in tribute to his family members who are police officers. I can only imagine how much they appreciate that. I don't know if there was enough room on the socks for that commentary that accompanied the decision to sport them. I can't wait to see what he dons in the regular season. Also, just on another kind of side note, calling Dr. J from the 1972 Virginia Squires. He wants his haircut back. I mean,
I don't. It's so funny. He's talking, but I can't hear what he's saying because I'm staring at his hair. When did that get out of control? Huh?
I think it's.
Is that a form of protest? 312-642-5600. I mean, is his hair?
It's a protest of taste, maybe.
Well, it's part of the whole thing with the socks and then the dew.
Yeah, I think what is out of control, or when things careened out off the road into the wilderness there. About the time he started dating that Black Lives Matter activist, Egyptian radio rap person.
Yeah, blame the broad because it is her fault. Seriously, you are who you date, and if you're so in love, you want to, accommodate this person.
Huh?
Yeah, blame the broad. You want to accommodate her.
Yeah.
If he really loves her, he wants to be down with the struggle with her.
Yeah.
He wants to feel the movement with her.
No,
and that's what he's doing. Oh, excuse me.
It's a double entendre if I ever heard one.
And I was just hoping that they'd do a cutaway shot of Kaepernick's mom and her talking in the stands, and
maybe
slapping her around a little bit, saying, "Stay away from my son,
you
heathen."
By the way, just as a point of order, we talk about this. Oh, everybody rushing to defend his right to express himself. You understand that the First Amendment right does not apply to the San Francisco 49ers organization or the NFL. It's government shall not abridge.
Oh, okay.
So let's remember. So if the 49ers wanted to take action or the NFL wanted to take action, they certainly would be within the bounds of the law to do so. I'm not suggesting they should, but I just wanted to make that point because people conflate this. I have a right to free speech. Well, not with respect to a private employer. Ooh. You don't, actually.
Have you seen pictures of Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend?
I have.
Wow. Well, what do you think, Dan? Want to break that down for us?
I think she can do better. Colin Kaepernick wanted to make sure people understand that he does love America.
Well, I think it's a misunderstanding. The media painted this as anti-American, anti-men and women of the military, and that's not the case at all. I realize that men and women of the military go out and sacrifice their lives and put themselves in harm's way for my freedom of speech and my freedoms in this country and my freedom to take a seat or take a knee. So I have the utmost respect for them, and I think what I did was taken out of context and spun a different way.
Yeah,
it's our fault. Shame on you, Dan.
He has respect for the military. He just has no respect for police officers. I hope that's clear now. Thank you for clarifying that.
Has he been pulled over yet?
He has a message.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
here's for the message. Why is he doing all this? Why is he wearing cartoon socks depicting police officers as pigs? Why is he
they're so juvenile.
Not cutting his hair?
Yeah.
Why?
Why is he letting himself go?
Why?
He's trying to make the team, the 53-man roster, and he's going to get cut. I'm sorry. Next week, I think.
We'll see about that. But his message is this.
The message is that we have a lot of issues in this country that we need to deal with. We have a lot of people that are oppressed. We have a lot of people that aren't treated equally, aren't given equal opportunities.
Yeah.
Police brutality is a huge thing that needs to be addressed. There are a lot of issues that need to be talked about, need to be brought to life, and we need to fix those things.
The phrase is brought to light, not life, Colin.
Brought to light. He had an Amyism there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Poor little fella. I know how he feels.
Well,
I've been there every day.
So these issues that he talks about generically, police brutality, the only one he can name, because that's the only one he's really talking about. Have they not been talked about? Were we suppressing conversation about police brutality until
No.
Colin Kaepernick came along?
I have to say, no. I really think he's late to the party. I mean, this should have been done a year ago. But guess what? A year ago, he wasn't dating the broad.
Police brutality has been talked about for generations because of, incidents between police and the citizenry. There's always that tension between law and order and individual rights. And, of course, there are police officers who have crossed the line. And those police officers should be held accountable just like anybody else. They have to operate within the bounds of the law while they enforce the law. And people, just as private citizens, need to operate within the bounds of the law. I thought that this was an excellent point. The response to Colin Kaepernick's hosiery. And
they did win the game, by the way.
Oh,
31-21.
It's really important.
What, threw for 103 yards? Did he really? Maybe he's going to keep his job, Dan.
I wonder if he'll feel the same when Blaine Gabbert's the starting quarterback about equal opportunity. So the head of the National Association of Police Organizations made the point about Colin Kaepernick's hosiery, that they're disrespectful, but he made this comparison, which I really like.
Okay.
This is Bill Johnson, Executive Director of the National Association of Police Organizations. He said, it's just ridiculous that the same league that prohibits the Dallas Cowboys from honoring the slain officers in their community with their uniforms stands silent when Kaepernick is dishonoring police officers with what he's wearing on the field. I think it's a really good point. But remember, the Cowboys wanted to put a patch on their uniforms honoring the 5 Dallas police officers who were assassinated, and the NFL said no. And Colin Kaepernick makes a spectacle of himself, and the NFL says nothing. David French in National Review had a nice addition to this, too. He's Colin Kaepernick indirectly doing America a great service. First, he's completely exposing the utter hypocrisy of this corporate sports industry. I seem to recall ESPN firing Curt Schilling not long ago, writes French, for taking some rather conventional positions regarding the problem of Islamic extremism and for sharing a quote-unquote offensive meme taking on the idea that men should be allowed in women's restrooms. And it feels like it was only 3 weeks ago the NFL, again, wouldn't allow the Cowboys to wear the helmet decals. Oh, it's a helmet decal, not a patch. Right. Helmet decal. And now everyone is rushing to assure America that Kaepernick won't be punished, and there are ESPN analysts falling all over themselves to praise him. It's so true, the hypocrisy here in terms of what is expression that everybody wants to defend. I know where he's coming from. His heart's in the right place. We need to defend expression. Except it's when it's expression that is politically incorrect or that they find a little dicey or they disagree with, then you're thrown under the bus. And the problem is, and so this is a point I make often, when you see these sports journalists, quote unquote, on ESPN and other stuff, just remember ESPN is way left. And sports journalists are like...
Well, they just know the stats.
Well, no, it's worse than that.
Say that. Some are good, though.
They're journalists. Meaning they, as a matter of course, most lean left, and they want to be taken seriously as journalists, so that encourages them to lean even further left than they would perhaps otherwise. Think of those who try and cross the divide and become social commentators as well, like Rick Tellender and David Haw and these other people who don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about. And so the hypocrisy is exposed, and Colin Kaepernick doing an indirect service with respect to the journalist corps in sports and on popular outlets like ESPN, as well as exposing the hypocrisy of the NFL, where they'll take a stand and for whom and where they won't.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Would you
What's the
text
text?
from Steve N88? Would you please quit playing clips of Colin Barberino? He was
That's
great
awesome.
and welcome back, Otter.
It was. And you know what's great, too? This forecast, Dan, we're going to have a string of wonderful days for your 3-day weekend. Today, plenty of sunshine, a high of 74. Tonight, a low in the 50s. And Saturday, nice with some sunshine, a high of 77. A little bit warmer on Sunday, a high of 82. And on Monday, sunny and really warm, a high in the upper 80s. Let's see if any overnight road worker creating any sticky spots on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, good Friday morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Good news on the outbound Stevenson. Everything is cleared up. That overnight construction is gone, and traffic is finally flowing nicely on the outbound Stevenson. It was all bottled up. Around California Avenue, there was some construction, but now everything's clear in both directions. The Eisenhower earlier had some outbound delays, but that's all gone too. The Ike's fine. Edens, Kennedy, wide open. There is on the Bishop Ford outbound at 154th a rollover crash. IDOT's responding there. We're not seeing any delays at the moment. The other expressways and tollways for now are good. In Roselawn, Indiana, State Road 10 is closed east of I-65 due to an overnight crash. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, just to take a little bit of a beef with Steve N88, it's more of a Freddie Boom Boom Washington that Kaepernick is sporting than a Vinny Barbarino.
Yeah, thank you for clearing that
You're
up.
welcome.
And hey, with ChicagoRadioDeals.com, seeing is believing, and you have to see the deals from Vision One LASIK Center. Get LASIK surgery on both eyes at their state-of-the-art center in Lombard for only $1,750. Now, this is a $3,800 value. So start with a consultation at any of the Vision One LASIK centers in Arlington Heights, Chicago, or Lombard. Vision One is a private practice with LASIK specialists Dr. Brand, Dr. Martin, and Dr. Berger. Hey, are you ready for this hot deal? Bikram Yoga of Rolling Meadows. It's a great place. They have 10 class packages for their beautiful studios on Hicks Road. Bikram Yoga is a series of 26 yoga postures and 2 breathing exercises taught in a 90-minute class in a 105-degree setting. Yes, Dan, you will be sure to sweat. Now, this package retails for $130. It's only $50 for 10 classes. That's a great deal. Find it at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. And look into open group training for your child athlete, or adult boot camp classes for your best body from MFC Sports Performance in Darien. Find it all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-550-8804. Strict limit of 1 per household.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. If your belly flattening results are too dramatic, simply reduce use to every other day. Think you might be bloated? See how much flatter New Biotics makes your belly. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-550-8804. That's 1-800-550-8804. 1-800-550-8804.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-400-9591. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-400-9591. 1-800-400-9591.
AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome
back.
Your dreams are your
ticket out.
I've got a note from Epstein's mom here that says I need to take Ed from Oak Brook. Ed, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, you know what? I'm listening to you guys, and I wonder if you know, or if the media even knows, how much we really hate the media or find them like just so despicable. I mean, you talk a guy like Bob Costas. I know he's not in this conversation, but when he's on the air, I mean, you just gotta laugh at the guy because he's starting to look like a girl. He's got so much makeup on, and he's had all this work done. But even what he says is so ridiculous and so against the grain of this country. Do they even know this?
No,
thanks for the call.
I gotta tell you, I did an event with Bob Costas, and he's a bit of a diva. It was weird. We're at Chicago Theater. I don't even know what the event was, but I had to introduce him, and his mic wasn't working. He got so pissed off. Can I say pissed off?
No.
He was so upset.
Yes,
he got his panties in a bunch, and all of a sudden he's like, and he grabs his lavalier mic and he takes it and he chucks it like a bowling move down the middle of the stage, and it was so embarrassing. And I just thought, what is wrong with you? I mean, you're
did
such
you get the little guy's binky? Make it better.
You need a widow timeout, dear Bob Costas.
Yeah.
You need to go to the green room. I mean, he made himself look like a fool in front of thousands of people, and then the stage manager had to go pick up a lavalier mic that he violently threw across the stage because it broke into a bunch of pieces. It was just stupid.
Well, remember for Sunday Night Football, Sunday night is NBC, right? Monday night is...
no, Thursday. Wait, Thursday is CBS? No, TNT.
Can we just stick on Sunday Night Football? Because that's
Sunday
the point.
is
It's Football
NBC.
Night in America, NBC. Yeah. So
Carrie Underwood sings the song now.
Remember, he would do these little commentaries, and I mean little commentaries at halftime, and he did one on guns after a Kansas City Chief shot and killed himself, and you know, I mean, and then it stopped because of the backlash against him. But just understand, to Ed's point, do they know how
they're perceived by the rest of the American people?
No, they don't.
No.
They live in a little bubble, and they just talk to one another. They are all Pauline Kael. Pauline Kael, the famous New Yorker movie critic who in 1972 said, I can't believe Nixon won the presidency. I don't know a single person who voted for him. He won 49 states in 1972. Exactly. It's a commentary on Pauline Kael. It's not a commentary on America. I would say the same thing about Bob Costas and these other sports
and when he interviews,
journalists.
When he interviews the tall athletes, he stands on a little box, like an apple crate, so that he could look like he's semi-tall. But he did the widow guy. Him and Wolf Blitzer and Rahm Emanuel, he did little people.
They are.
They're little Barbie dolls. That's what I call them.
Little Shetland people.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text LEARN to 42424. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text LEARN to 42424. Again, that's LEARN to 42424.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer?
Speaking of tiny people, Tiny Dancer is going to hire more cops. All of a sudden, somebody told him there's a crime problem in Chicago at 5:38.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Hermine is no longer a hurricane this morning. Still causing quite a mess, making landfall with 80-mile-an-hour winds in Florida overnight. Dennis Felgren is a meteorologist and spokesman with the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center.
It has now been downgraded to a tropical depression, just barely below hurricane strength at 70 miles per hour maximum sustained winds. As we speak, the center of Hermine, as tropical storm, is located about 50 miles to the northeast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Several areas along the northern Gulf Coast already reporting more than a half foot of rain. Residents of the Hawaiian Islands are hoping Lester follows Madeline, spares them a direct hurricane blow. Lester, a major Category 3 storm, is on track to pass north of the island chain. There is global chaos this morning in the shipping industry following the bankruptcy of the Hanjin shipping line. It's left giant container ships marooned and merchants worrying about whether tons of goods, some with Christmas items on them, will reach shelves. Experts warning of possible short-term price spikes. So far, 27 ships have been refused entry to ports or terminals, leaving cargo headed to and from Asia in limbo during this high-demand time period. A breakaway Taliban faction claiming responsibility for a pair of militant attacks in northwest Pakistan today that has killed 11. Samsung recalling all Galaxy Note 7 smartphones sold around the world after some users reported the devices catching fire. The Note 7 has only been out since August 19th. Mayor Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times mayor's planning to hire hundreds of additional police officers. Congressman Bobby Rush complaining he was racially profiled by Chicago police after two officers recently pulled him over on the South Side. The Tribune reported the officers stopped Rush because they thought his vanity license plate on his Lexus with the numeral 1 actually belonged to a Cadillac registered on the North Side. They were mistaken, and about an hour after the encounter, Rush then filed a complaint with the Independent Police Review Authority. Bears over Cleveland 21-7. College football, Western Illinois top Eastern Illinois 38-21. Cubs over San Francisco 5-4. And the Twins beat the White Sox 8-5. The news service of Cabela's. It's a great time to gear up at Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days. Find great deals on the latest hunting gear and outdoor apparel. Save $30 on a Bushnell B12 trail camera. Don't miss Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days in Hoffman Estates and Hammond. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
My America is really easy. I can sum up my America in about 9.5 seconds.
The Joe Walsh Show.
It's my life, it's my money, it's my family, it's my business. I'll be responsible for everything. Government, get the hell out of my life. 9.5 freaking seconds.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
That might have been 8.5 seconds.
Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days are finally here. Find great deals on all your favorite brands. Don't miss out on their largest sale of the season at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates and Hammond.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about balance of nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true, and it's only natural.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
5:36. Let's get an update on the roads in our AM 560 traffic center this morning. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On the Bishop Ford Freeway outbound, traffic is stop and go from Sibley to 154th. There's a rollover crash. 2 right lanes are blocked. It's about a 3 or 4 minute delay. Inbound, just a little heavy. Cottage Grove to the Ryan. The inbound Ryan has about a 7-minute delay already, starting around 35th and heading into downtown Chicago. The Edens, the Kennedy are clear. The Eisenhower just fine. Outbound roadwork is cleared on the Stevenson, but inbound traffic is now a little slow Cicero to Pulaski. Traffic is a service of Cabela's. It's time to gear up at Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days. Find great deals on the latest hunting gear and outdoor apparel. Save $30 on a Bushnell B12 trail camera. Don't miss Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days at Hoffman Estates and Hammond. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A nice day ahead. Amy's been telling you about that this morning. It's going to be beautiful. Sunshine in 74, 57 overnight, and 77 tomorrow. 64 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, Chicago has passed its murder total from last year with a third of the year to go. And apparently this just made its way to the 5th floor and to Tiny Dancer's tiny office. Now he's heard about the 469 murders to date, apparently, and he's going to hire more police officers with money he says he didn't have previously.
Yeah, how does that work?
What's he been waiting for?
I don't know what finally hit him in the head and made him realize he has to do something. If my house was broken into, I can't get a cop to come over because they're all busy. We had a gunshot. We had a bullet through my neighbor's front window and a shell casing that I picked up. And I said, "Do you want to come over and get it?" And they said, "No." Was anybody injured? And I said, "No." And they said, "No, we're not. We don't have the resources to come and investigate." That's a gunshot through a window that could have killed one of their 2 twins, and they don't care because they're the resource. There's not enough police officers around.
Sharon and Itasca, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Just bouncing back to this arrogant football player, I think the owners need to bounce him down and get him out of a job so he no longer feels the liberal status guilt of being in, the 0.1% income range. I love these supercilious people who think they're better than everybody else, like this guy who's had more opportunities than maybe 3/4 of the country. He didn't exactly start from hard rubble and start from the ground up. He had parents who adopted him, raised him, and unfortunately he became the person he became. They need to get him off the team.
Thanks for the call, Sharon. Supercilious, the excellent vocabulary word, too. I'm very, very impressed.
Supercilious, is that common spelling? How do you spell?
With the C.
With a C?
Yeah. It means, haughty.
Haughty. Is that common spelling?
Yeah, same. Also with a C. Picking up on Sharon's point, I have an idea for
what?
Colin Kaepernick when the 49ers cut him. He can go be the associate pastor at St. Sabina's.
Oh,
Why hasn't Father Flager already extended the invitation? I'm a bit baffled because Father Flager, we mentioned this yesterday, but I go back and examine this a little bit more closely because Father Flager had a protest on Wednesday, SOS and fake blood on the street, his normal bloviating, his call for the governor to declare a state of emergency, which is the predicate to deploy the National Guard, which the governor has rejected
and he
appropriately.
Also flipped the American flag upside down, which is a sign of distress.
Right, yes.
And here's that call.
So I'm asking Governor Rauner, call a state of emergency for the city of Chicago.
He also said the FOP president, Chicago Fraternal Order Police president, he's talking about Dean Angelo, could, quote, go to hell, unquote, if Chicago police don't want to work overtime. And what Father Flager is referring to is a Chicago FOP memo that was sent out Wednesday declaring September 2nd through the 5th FOP Unity Days, urging members to refrain from volunteering for any overtime work from Friday through Labor Day. The memo, which I have a copy of here, urges officers to boycott any additional work over the holiday weekend in order to, quote, show unity and to protest the continued disrespect of Chicago police officers and the killings of law enforcement officers across our country. Do you have a problem with that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Should Chicago FOP President Dean Angelo, quote unquote, go to hell as Catholic priest?
It's unchristian.
Father Pfleger suggested he should do if Chicago police don't want to work OT, don't want to volunteer for OT.
They just want to volunteer their time to help the city streets stay safer. And Father Pfleger has a problem with that. He's saying spend time, the Unity Days, spend time with your family, don't volunteer for extra shifts. Yeah, so stay off the streets.
Spend time with your family over the holiday weekend.
Then there'll be more murders. That's what's going to happen.
Well, so
Father Pfleger,
the Chicago police have essentially been I wouldn't say neutered, that's too strong a word, but I mean by the civilian leadership, by the Star Chamber that Tiny Dancer convened that concluded that all 12,000 Chicago police officers, men and women, nearly half of whom are minorities, are part of a systemically racist organization that discards the interests and cares not about the lives of minority families in Chicago. That's what the report said. So they've essentially been defanged. The message has been sent that the political civilian leadership of the city of Chicago does not have your back.
Right.
And so what the FOP said is kind of a moment of solidarity over a holiday weekend. Spend time with your family. Take a mental health break from being pilloried as a political football by politicians in Chicago and, quarterbacks for the 49ers. Any issue with that? I don't have an issue with it. I really don't.
I know everybody needs a break, especially them, and they can't do their job, and they're fearful of doing their job because they're afraid of lawsuits. They're afraid of being charged with a crime by simply doing their job because of what's been going on. And Father Pfleger, he doesn't have very Christian-like behavior. I know I defended him yesterday saying, at least he's a part of, he lives in that neighborhood. Because you look at Jesse Jackson, you look at Al Sharpton, they don't live in the neighborhoods that they are supposedly representing. Father Pfleger's been there for decades. Has adopted a number of children that were in foster care. I think it's 19 total. But I was reminded of what Father Pfleger did. Remember in 2008 after Hillary Clinton lost the Iowa caucuses?
Yeah, he went over to Reverend Wright's GD America Church.
Yeah.
And did a little impersonation.
When Hillary was crying, and people said that was put on, I really don't believe it was put on. She just always thought, this is mine. I'm Bill's wife. I'm white. And then out of nowhere came, hey, I'm Barack Obama. And she said, oh, damn, where did you come from? I'm white. I'm entitled. There's a black man stealing my show. She wasn't the only one crying. There was a whole lot of white people crying.
Yeah, I hate white people too. What a great Christian example he sets as a man of the cloth, as a Catholic priest.
That's embarrassing behavior. Oh my gosh.
That's an instant classic.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I've been saving it for 6 years because I was so offended at his treatment of Hillary Clinton. Maybe she whatever. I don't care politically where you stand, but that kind of behavior from a priest, a person you're supposed to look up to, who's supposed to teach you the word of the word of the Lord, acts like that.
You know what's funny about
he's a showman.
Funny about Pfleger, he's a political hack, just like Jesse Jackson Sr. Jesse Jackson Sr. once upon a time was pro-life.
He was?
Of course he was, because they're wherever the zeitgeist is, wherever they can aggrandize themselves at the expense of others. That's what Pfleger is. He's a parasite, just like Jesse Jackson Sr., shakedown artist. Once upon a time, I know this from somebody who is steeped in the history of the Chicago Archdiocese, when he first started at St. Sabina,
Yeah.
Flagler was known as sort of a maverick who wouldn't marry couples who were living together unless they agreed to live separately for 3 months before the wedding.
Really?
He was more outspoken about marriage in the black community. He would speak out occasionally about abortion. All that's gone. All that's gone. It's just this poverty pimping, race hustling rap that you heard him offer at Jeremiah Wright's church and that you hear him offer on the streets with his perfunctory vigils and rallies, every fortnight with the same call and the same rap. By the way, calling on a white governor, so I guess some white people are useful to deploy to declare a state of emergency, which is again the predicate to deploy the National Guard. That's what Father Flagler is. And to paraphrase, since he brought up hell and by extension heaven, to paraphrase Thomas Jefferson, if I could not go to heaven, but with Father Flagler, I would not go at all. Let's go to Ari in Des Plaines. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
Morning.
Hello?
Hello.
Yep, you're on.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I'm calling to ask you guys a question. I've had the misfortune of having to hear Father Flagler's outbursts these past few years, ever since that Hillary Clinton comments 8 years ago. And I want to ask you, too, because you know more about Chicago politics, obviously, than I, and because maybe one of you is Catholic, I'm not. Why is he tolerated? Why doesn't the Archdiocese do something about him? It's disgusting.
Thanks for the call, Ari. It's a great question. It's a question I've asked for years. I've suggested for years that he should have been defrocked as a priest long ago. He had been previously disciplined by Cardinal George, but it didn't go far enough. And Supich, who's a social justice Catholic like Flagler is, he's not going to do anything. Supich, before he even got here, praised Father Flagler. So the problem is you have a rather poisonous element within the Catholic Church that tolerates this because, I don't know, they don't want it, because he's got an African-American parishioner base and they don't want to offend or they don't want to create controversy there, so they just let him do his thing. Let him do his thing that no other priest would be allowed to do. Just even on the issue of rotating through parishes, he's been allowed to essentially violate that protocol without a significant consequence. But no, it's a black mark on the Catholic Church in Chicago, on the Archdiocese, in my opinion, no question. And I am Catholic.
Just so you know, WGN had Father Flagler on today, and he apparently is going to apologize, saying that he regrets what the remarks that he made against Union President Dean Angelo.
I don't accept his apology, and I hope Dean Angelo doesn't either. But he is more gracious than I am, Dean Angelo, so he probably will. But I don't. And it's not because of this. It's because of the cumulative work of Father Flagler.
Said that he regrets using that language.
Mike in Bolingbrook.
Yeah, hey, Dan. The thing that kills me, and especially in that segment that Amy just played, is he puts on the black face. He talks in Ebonics, so to speak, and then when you interview him on TV or whatever, he's all politically correct. He is a racist. He is racist against the white people.
Thanks for the call, Mike. And by the way, after that Hillary Clinton impersonation from 8 years ago, wonder who he's supporting this go around.
I know. Yeah.
Who do you think? Oh,
Bernie Sanders, but now he's supporting Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. You think he's supporting Donald Trump? No. Don't think so.
But he's a showman like Donald Trump. I mean,
Kent in Lincoln Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. You know, I find it amazing. The Obama Justice Department and the Emanuel administration basically, they screwed over McCarthy and they're persecuting the police. And then the end result of that is crime, murder and everything else spikes up massively. And then, simple people with simple minds across the country blame the police for police violence. But yet the overall reaction to this is, people getting slaughtered because of a lack of support for the police.
I agree with you, Ken, except for the Gary McCarthy defense. Gary McCarthy was a useful idiot for Tiny Dancer. So the fact he got thrown under the bus, you're a politician instead of a police chief, and you do the bidding of Tiny Dancer, then I really have no sympathy for how it ended for Gary McCarthy.
Yeah, okay. It's completely accurate. I agree.
All right, thanks, Ken.
changing minds like that.
That's what I do. Tom in Deer Park.
call. Good morning. If Father Flager tells somebody to go to hell, the response would be, I think it's Oscar Wilde quoted, "That's where all the interesting people are." It's certainly more interesting than Father Flager.
Yeah, thank you for the call. You know what Oscar Wilde also said about experience?
What?
Speaking of Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
Experience is just something we call our mistakes.
Ah.
I want you to think about that.
Okay.
Phil on the Northwest side.
Yeah, Father Flager's disgusting. I call him Father Flagrant. It's very sad that he never brings up the heroin problem in Chicago. He never brings up the crack cocaine problem. And it's amazing to me how he'll defend all the socialists and talk about black and white all day. He doesn't defend Alan Keyes. He never defended Ben Carson. And it's horribly disgusting. And when I look at Tiny Dancer, with all the gunshots and everything else, I wonder if we need a certain amount of people to die before he can get state money or federal money to add up to the police. My son goes to school with a little kid on the west side where I grew up at La Follette Park, and I can't let him go play with him. And his parents are asking me why. They got 45 holes in the picture window next door to him. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Phil.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Plenty of sunshine for the next 3 days through the big Labor Day weekend. Today, a high of 74. On Saturday, a little warmer, a high of 77. Then Sunday looks just spectacular. Mostly sunny, a high of 82. And for Labor Day, more sunshine and more warmth, a high near 90. Any high travel times? Let's get the latest from Jim Telemonte.
Well, Amy, good morning. Traffic's not quite so pretty on eastbound 8094. We're seeing delays from Ripley to just before the Indiana Toll Road. That's due to a crash in the left lane. The toll road itself is fine. So is I-65, but just east of 65 in Roselawn, State Road 10 still shut down due to an overnight crash. Bishop Ford Freeway outbound on 154th. A rollover crash is cleared, but it's still heavy. About 23 minutes from the ride to 8094 inbound 20, with delays starting at 159th. The Edens is fine, so is the Kennedy. The Ike, 31 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 29. Stevenson, 37 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller, the mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. As native Chicagoans, my partners and I know this city, its economy, and the challenges that small businesses face. We like to think of Signature Bank as your hometown bank. Chicagoans helping Chicagoans. We understand that banking is ultimately about people, and we build long-term, lasting relationships with our customers. We stand by our customers, and our customers stand by us, and we welcome new customers every day. We look forward to welcoming you and your business into the Signature Bank family.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Want to see what you'd look like if you had a flatter belly? Now's your chance, because for a limited time, we're giving away free trials of Somabiotics, the new discovery that flattens bloated bellies fast. But hurry and call now while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-906-9985. Strict limit of one free trial per household. These free trials are reserved for anyone, male or female, who's looking for maximum belly flattening in minimum time. Somabiotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Want to see what you'd look like with a flatter belly? Now's your chance. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving these trials of Somabiotics away for free. 1-800-906-9985. That's 1-800-906-9985. If lines are busy, try again. 1-800-906-9985.
From executive producer LeBron James.
I need this, like yesterday.
Cleveland entrepreneurs get a chance to compete for their shot at success.
That will be a game changer for me and our business.
I believe your hustle is going to make this happen. We got work to do now.
It's hard work, but it's totally worth it.
Cleveland Hustles. Premiere episodes Wednesdays at 10.
Everybody can have great ideas, but you have what it takes in here.
Only on CNBC.
Hi, I'm Joan London. If you're looking for senior care for your mom or dad like I was, call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. Their local advisors will explain your options and help you select senior living communities at no cost to you.
To speak with your local senior care advisor, call A Place for Mom, 1-800-379-1174. That's 1-800-379-1174.
There's a place for answers, a place for mom.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now, 1-800-933-0414. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-933-0414. That's 1-800-933-0414. 1-800-933-0414.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mixed reviews for Trump's immigration policy speech. And Suburban Dad on the download, Tim Kaine responds for Clinton Inc., saying sanctuary cities don't exist. We'll talk about it all with Sam Clovis, national campaign co-chairman for the Donald Trump campaign at 6:06.
The Sam Clovis is going on.
And mean.
Okay. First into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a report this morning says Mayor Rahm Emanuel plans to hire hundreds of police officers. 10-year-old girl, 2 men hurt in a Chicago shooting. Police union is urging an overtime boycott over the Labor Day weekend. Congressman Bobby Rush claims he was profiled by Chicago police. And the Bears wrap up the preseason with a victory over the Browns. Plenty of sunshine in your forecast. WIND Chicago News Time is 6.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's not a hurricane anymore, but Hermine's still causing trouble.
Our power went out again, and I got on Facebook, and I've noticed that all my friends are without power.
She's in Tallahassee, where there are widespread outages after Hermine came ashore as a hurricane.
The storm pounding the state capital overnight. This is the first hurricane to make landfall in the Sunshine State in more than a decade. You're going to see power outages in spotty communities throughout the Sunshine State, but utility crews in between feeder bands have already begun repairing the damage.
Fox's Jonathan Seri in Panama City, Florida. Big storm surge was something people were warned about, and in Pasco County, at least 18 people needed to be rescued from their homes. There was also flooding in the Tampa area. Hermine's a tropical storm now, moving into Georgia, and could dump up to 20 inches of rain on some areas.
Those rains may cause life-threatening floods and flash floods, and some of that heavy rain could reach the coastal mid-Atlantic states from Virginia to New Jersey. beginning early Saturday.
Dennis Felgood of the National Hurricane Center. Hurricane Lester keeps barreling toward Hawaii. The current track has it crossing just north of the islands this weekend. Donald Trump will get his second national security briefing as the Republican presidential nominee today. This as more of his rivals' records from the State Department will be made public. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the State Department has agreed to hand over all the former Secretary of State schedules by mid-October instead of after the presidential election. Clinton's schedules came under scrutiny after the AP reported it reviewed 2 years of her meetings and came to the conclusion that more than half the people she made time for, outside of members of U.S. or foreign governments, had donated to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton campaign has said the AP's analysis is flawed because it doesn't account for her entire tenure as Secretary of State. Dave.
Rachel, a huge recall from Samsung. All of its Galaxy 7 Note smartphones worldwide because the batteries can catch fire while charging. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Skies are mostly clear this morning. It is a getaway Friday, and folks already hitting the road early at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Emanuel says he could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times mayor's planning to hire hundreds of additional police officers. O'Connor says the city's dealing with a staff shortage in the police department. Meantime, the police union is repeating its call for officers to resist working overtime shifts over the Labor Day weekend. Sun-Times says the FOP memo to rank and file declares the weekend FOP Unity Day and suggests officers actually spend time with their families. Chicago police tell us a 10-year-old injured her arm as she fled from another instance of gun violence in the city. Department spokesman says police initially believed the girl was hit by gunfire in the Thursday afternoon shooting, but later learned she injured that arm as she ran away. A man being held without bail in the 1991 rape and murder of a teenage girl in Dixmoor. Willie Randolph appeared yesterday in the Markham courthouse on charges of murder, kidnapping. He's accused of raping and killing 14-year-old Cateresa Matthews and kidnapping her from a bus stop 25 years ago. Governor Bruce Rauner laid off 29 Illinois Department of Transportation patronage employees, among those improperly hired based on political connections. The Republican issued the notices to the so-called staff assistants hired by skirting personnel rules under the two previous governors who were Democrats. Bears over Cleveland 21-7. College football, Western Illinois top Eastern Illinois 38-21. Cubs and Addison Russell winners over San Francisco 5-4. Russell with a 2-run single with the bases loaded in the 7th to cap the Cubs win. Minnesota beat the White Sox 8-5. The news service of Bank of America want cash back at Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's today. Use your Bank Americard Cash Rewards Visa credit card and earn 2% cash back at wholesale clubs. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. 6:04 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson, candidate for President of the United States, and I approve this message. If a Democrat is elected president, if a Republican is elected president, in 4 years we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
It is 6:06. Let's check our roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound 8094, stop and go from Ripley to before the Indiana Toll Road. There's a crash in the left lane. It's got a long delay right now. Indiana Toll Road is wide open. Edens is clear. Inbound Kennedy, heavy from the River Road Toll to Cumberland. 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The Eisenhower's 33 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound fine at 29. Stevenson, 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine. The Ryan, delay is approaching 75th. There's a crash in the left lane. And again from 31st on in, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 21 minutes, I-80 to the Murray. Bishop Ford 17, earlier crash at 154th is gone. Traffic service of Little Caesars, home of the large $5 hot and ready pepperoni pizza. Little Caesars, where they took pieces of their delicious crazy bread, covered them with melted cheese and bacon, threw in a side of jalapenos, and created loaded crazy bread bites. They're hot and ready every day from 4 to 8 and only $4, plus tax at participating locations. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Sunshine today with a high 74, clear night, low 57. Tomorrow, sunshine with a high 77 and a partly cloudy night, low 59. Mostly sunny for Sunday, high of 82. Clear night, Sunday night, low 63. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
62 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Military Mortgage Talk with host Tony Gatliff. Sunday mornings at 9 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Well, I think it's a misunderstanding. You know, the media painted this as anti-American, anti-men and women of the military, and that's not the case at all.
I am going to create a new special deportation task force.
I argued, and I think most people on the council did, for a bit of a softer tone than he decided on.
This same speech has been given throughout our history against the Irish, against Italian-American immigrants, against Jews coming from Eastern Europe.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the reviews are in, some of them at least, on Trump's immigration policy speech yesterday, or I should say Wednesday evening. And it's interesting. There's not a lot of surprises. This is a bit of one. National Review Online, the editors at National Review Online, this is one of the repositories of the Never Trump folks, right?
Right.
A tough but sensible immigration policy is their editorial this morning on Trump's plan. Practical one. Trump's crowd-pleasing antics aside, in his immigration speech on Wednesday, he laid out a sensible, realistic path forward on genuine immigration reform. Now, the flip side of that is the kind of the more corporatist position, Wall Street Journal editorial board, Trump's Fortress America, suggesting that the speech was not the quote-unquote softening policy Mr. Trump had been signaling for more than a week, making suppositions about what may have happened to derail the softening they were hoping for. But essentially, they take the position that Charles Krauthammer takes, which is the only realistic immigration reform in a comprehensive fashion is enforcement first and some sort of earned path to citizenship for those who have been here illegally and whose only crime is to come to this country illegally. This is the point that Tim Kaine, he's the suburban dad on the down low that is running with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, the real boring politician.
Yeah. He was on Morning Joe yesterday, and here was his attempt to undermine what Trump had to say on Wednesday night.
Joe, kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth in a way that I think the diplomacy side of it was kind of embarrassing, and then the speech last night was frightening and divisive. So the diplomacy side, the central piece of his whole campaign is immigration, deportation nation. We're going to build a wall. We're going to make Mexico pay for it. But when he gets in the room with the president of Mexico, he forgets this? He's been saying it, and the Mexican president knows he's been saying it, but he doesn't bring it up. Did he choke? Was he afraid? Did he have a little crisis of confidence at the end?
He's so lame.
Does Kaine need a safe space? He was frightened by that. The hyperbole is just, it never ends.
Well, this is of course what you had to anticipate. What we should always anticipate: the left doing their bigot baiting, to borrow the phrase from Rusty Reno. This is what they do. It is always going to be bigot baiting. They don't want to address point by point the 10 planks of the platform that Trump presented. So they just do the bigot baiting. You heard at the top, this has been used against the speech has been given against the Irish and the Italians and the Chinese throughout the course of history. It's not, no single group is targeted except persons here who are illegally or persons who have designs to do harm to this country or who have already done harm to this country and haven't been deported as they should be, which even the left agrees. At least they take the rhetorical position. So, I thought that's just so anemic, that effort by Kaine. And then it actually got worse as he's making the rounds. He's on CNN with Chris Cuomo.
Oh, no.
And he says sanctuary cities don't exist. Even Chris Cuomo wouldn't stomach it.
Look, I was a mayor and I was a governor. I trust the voters of communities to hold their mayors and their police departments responsible. When Donald Trump kind of goes after these phantom sanctuary cities and talks about how bad they are, basically what he's going after is police chiefs. And I trust police chiefs in terms of knowing what should be done to keep their community safer, and police departments and mayors a lot more than I trust Donald Trump.
There's so much. So first of all, and Chris Cuomo's like, what do you mean they're not phantom? They exist. There are cities like Chicago. They're saying, well, we're not going to aid federal law enforcement with enforcing federal immigration laws. Now, that's real, and it is not a police chief decision. It's a civilian political leadership decision. It here is in Chicago. It is in Cook County. It is in San Francisco. No, don't put this off on police. Another kind of feeble attempt by Kaine to try and align Clinton and Kaine, of all people, with law enforcement in this country. I don't think that's going to sell. But for more on the reactions to the Trump speech, we're joined by Sam Clovis, who is the Trump National Campaign co-chairman and a chief policy advisor. Sam, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks. You bet. It's great to be on with you.
And so how do you respond, particularly to kind of the centrist critique of Trump's policy rollout on immigration, which really centers around what are you going to do with people who have come here illegally, yes, but have lived here legally and productively for many years, and they want an earned right to citizenship? And Trump said everybody's going to be eligible for deportation who has come here illegally, although I may not, although that's down the rank order of priority of people that we need to deal with, and that's not good enough for some.
Well, I think that the issue is that the value most treasured in America is the rule of law. That's been that way for over 100 years. As for polling data goes back to the turn of the 20th century to support that. And I think that really the American people are looking for someone that's going to enforce the law. And that's all we're saying. That's all we've ever said, is that we will enforce the law. Now, the idea that we would reward someone who would come here to jump the line and reward them with a path to citizenship, it doesn't make sense, because it really is unfair and frankly immoral to put people who broke the law, who entered this country illegally, ahead of people who are trying to get into this country legally and who have gone through all the hoops and all the other aspects of this. And it just doesn't make any sense for us to do that. And then take a look at the demographic that we're talking about. That in most cases, we're talking about people who are competing on the seams of our employment and labor force, who are literally competing with people who need jobs, and frankly, in America. And again, it suppresses wages. All of these factors, economic factors, are in play as well. Plus the fact that it costs state and local governments probably around $120 billion a year to support illegal immigration, and I think that this is why people in America are tired of it, and they want something done about it, so that we are not put in a position where we're bankrupting our cities and counties. And the fact of the matter is that we can improve our public safety, we can improve the safety and the lives of Americans and people who came here legally. So all of these things are in play, and it's simply by enforcing the law that we can achieve that.
But Sam, Donald Trump's plan includes self-deportation, or he's hoping for that. Do you really think that would work?
Well, I think that the issue that we really face is we have the administrative procedures that are in place. This is not something that's going to take place and it's going to happen in the first weekend of a Donald Trump presidency. This is something that will have to be done in a deliberate fashion. We want to round up the bad guys first. We want to empty our prisons of criminal aliens. We want to make sure that we take the drug traffickers off the street. And in the process, we want to make sure that we get things like E-Verify done. So employers know that when they hire someone, that they're hiring someone who is in this country legally. That's in their interest. It's in the interest of the American people. And I think that once we see the situation, that people understand that they can come if they're here and they want to be here legally, that they can return to their home countries and get in line and come back. I think that that's simply, again, enforcing the law, and that's all we're asking to do.
Now, we're talking to Sam Clovis. He's a national campaign co-chairman for Donald Trump presidential campaign. And we talked to Steve Cortez, who's a member of Trump's Hispanic Advisory Council yesterday, and he was fairly pleased with the speech. But it's now being widely reported, for obvious reasons, that there were a number of members of that same Hispanic Advisory Council not pleased. Jacob Monti, Ramiro Pena, and Alfonso Aguilar, who one Pena's from Texas. Monti, I think, is a Houston attorney. Alfonso Aguilar is the president of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles. These three individuals have said they're either pulling their support for Donald Trump or are inclined to do so. What's the reaction to that?
Well, I think that people certainly have their own views and their own opinions on this, and I understand there are sensitivities, and people have those sensitivities. But again, I think that what we're looking at here is doing something that is important for America, and that's establishing the rule of law. We have had an administration for the last 8 years that has shown absolutely no consideration for the Constitution of the United States. They've been selective in any aspects of this. And at the end of the day, the American people are not served by an administration or a government that is selective in the enforcement of its laws. The oath of office for the President of the United States says that that individual will enforce the laws of this country. And that is essentially, and all we're saying, and I hate to be repetitive on that, but I can't find it in myself to understand how anyone can take exception to the fact that we want to enforce the law of the country. And now these laws were passed in a bipartisan manner. These laws were delivered to us. Even the 1986 Immigration Reform and Control Act was passed in a bipartisan manner and sent forward. And the fact of the matter is the American people should have an expectation that they send to Washington these laws and write these.
Sam, we're losing your cell connect there. So Sam Clovis, he's a national campaign co-chairman for Donald Trump. Sam, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today. Plenty of sunshine, low humidity levels, just spectacular. A high of 74 degrees on Saturday. It looks good. Plenty of sunshine, a high of 77. On Sunday, a little bit warmer, a highs of 82. And on Monday for your Labor Day, could not ask for a better day. Plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, a high near 90. Any trouble spots on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
It's a little heavy on eastbound 8094 from Ripley to before the Indiana Toll Road with a crash on the left shoulder. Not a big delay. The toll road itself is fine. To Kennedy, 21 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 20, though it's getting heavier in both directions. The Eden's still fine. On Eisenhower, delays start at Manheim. There's a crash at 25th in the left lane. 42 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 31. Stevenson is 43 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. There's a crash at 75th in the left lane. I-57, 21 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 425. Lakeshore Drive's heavy southbound 18th to the Stevenson. Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Have you ever seen what really goes on in your caterer's or favorite restaurant's kitchen? What does the kitchen look like? How big is the operation? And maybe most importantly, who's cooking my meal? When you cater with Tasty Catering, you get more than quality food and event planning. You get an invitation to see what goes on throughout our entire building, including our kitchen. We call it our open kitchen door policy. Come see for yourself why we are so proud of what we do and gain the peace of mind that comes with knowing the who's, the what's, the where's, and the how's of the way we prepare your food. Visit tastycatering.com for more information or contact a Tasty Catering sales representative and set up a time to come meet with us at our home. You can't put a price on peace of mind, but if you had to, all it takes is one visit. Call 847-593-2000, 847-593-2000, or start your visit through our open doors at tastycatering.com.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. AM 560 On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Next spring, I want my lawn to be the best lawn on the block.
I told Anthony if he wants the best lawn, he's going to have to start preparing this fall with Scott's Turf Builder.
Ace is the place that's 2 seasons ahead. Spoiler alert, the lawn ends up looking great.
Now through Labor Day, get up to $5 in instant savings on select Scott's lawn food. Ace Rewards members save instantly in-store. Selection varies by region. Store stock only. See participating stores for details.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
When flipping houses, there's one golden rule. Cash talks. I'm going to show you how you can easily get $10,000 plus all the cash you'll ever need for free. I'm Andrew Holmes, popular radio show host and founder of Chicago's #1 flipping team. And I've flipped over 600 houses in Chicago right under your nose. And now I'm going to show you how. I'm holding a free seminar right here in the Chicagoland area where I'll give a select few the opportunity to use my funding to flip houses and net up to $40,000 per deal without spending a dime of your own money. You don't need good credit and you don't need any of your own money. If the deal is good, you'll get the funds. The first 100 people to call 844-MONEY40 and register will receive my Blueprint to Real Estate Wealth System for free. All you have to do is find a great deal and pass it on to me and I'll give you $10,000. Time is running out. Seating is very limited. Call 844-MONEY40. That's 844-MONEY40.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know this song?
Pardon?
You know the song?
Yeah, everyone's working for the week.
Yeah. Who sings it?
You.
I
In about
do.
5 seconds?
I do.
All right, no, sing it. Really.
I don't do Loverboy. I'm
Loverboy sings it.
I'm more of a balladeer.
I'm looking at pictures of Dr. J from the Virginia Squires,
Yeah.
the ABA back in the day. Yeah, his hairdo looks like Colin Kaepernick.
Thank you.
You nailed it.
I try.
Nobody knows ABA history like Dan Proft.
Very
and
few-
Mike Scott, too.
Yeah.
You two are talking back and forth.
You will get very few conservative talk show hosts and newsmen who are conversant in the ABA, and we just had a nice conversation during the break about ABA basketball. So we'll podcast that for a little premium content you can listen to after the show. But we were talking to Sam Clovis from the Trump campaign. We're talking about immigration. And I mentioned we had Steve Cortez.
Right, he was on. He's a surrogate, Trump surrogate.
Right, part of his Hispanic Advisory Council. Not displeased with Trump's speech. We talked to him on the show yesterday. And then he went on MSNBC.
After us?
With Joy Reid. And this is really interesting. This is an illustration of why it's just very, very difficult to find common ground on some of these issues. Why you listen to certain proposals, and if you stripped a personality away from them or a partisan affiliation, maybe you could get general agreement that, well, this makes sense. This is sensible policy. But you can't do it when everybody is kind of protecting their turf and their, I guess, ideological perspective. And this is what happened when Steve Cortez from the Trump campaign tried to have a conversation with Joy Reid. And I don't know if she pays her taxes or not. I assume she's an MSNBC host, so she does not, but I don't know.
Does Al Sharpton still work for them?
I believe so. I don't know. I'm not one of the 3 people who watches MSNBC. Steve Cortez and Joy Reid, they start to have a conversation about Trump's immigration proposals, and then it gets derailed.
When it comes to the bedrock principles, I don't disagree with him at all. And those are twofold. Number one, we have to secure our border. Our southern border has not been secured for decades. Number two, there can be no citizenship for illegals. You cannot reward criminality
Hold on a
with
second.
citizenship.
Let me stop
and
you
that
right
is
there.
a stark difference.
Let me stop
from
you
Hillary
just one
Clinton.
second. I'm going to just stop you right there. You are Hispanic, Steve. Are you comfortable with that term illegals? That is a pejorative to a lot of people. Why do you use that term?
You know why, Joy? Because words matter, okay?
Yeah, they do.
And because if you do something that is against the law, it's illegal. If you go into a store and you shoplift, you're not an undocumented holder of a good, you're a thief. If you come to the United States against the immigration laws of the United States, you're not undocumented, you're illegal.
Do you consider
and you
a
need
child?
to
Hold
do
on a
it.
second. First of all, do you consider a child who was brought into this country, the people who are eligible for DACA, who were children when they came here, you would label that person essentially the equivalent of a shoplifter or a thief?
No, because they had
That's
no
what you just
choice
said.
in the matter. No, I did not. I did not say that at all.
So you don't
Because they
think
had
that
no-
you wouldn't call
they
a
had no
child
choice in the
eligible for
matter.
DACA and illegal? You wouldn't use that term with that child?
I would not, because they didn't have a choice.
Of course, a minor child, as compared to somebody who's an adult and who makes an adult decision. Is there a difference? Not to Joy Reid because she's a moron, but Cortez is brilliant. A undocumented holder of goods, not a thief. I mean, this is the point. You can't even call things what they are. So how do you get to a place where you can agree on how things should be? And this went on. This went on because Joy Reid was so offended on behalf of people who are here illegally. I mean, it just continues. This is great.
Joy, listen. What I would have a softer tone on illegals. All right, and I'm not
Can you
speaking
do me
on
a
behalf.
favor? Can you do me a
Hold
favor,
on.
Steve? Just while you're talking to me, can you not use that terminology? But go on.
No, I will not give you that
She needs to
because
say
the
it. All right.
English language matters.
Yeah,
it
it
matters
does.
that we use terms
It does.
that are
My last question.
illegal. They're
Wow.
here illegally.
My
we
last
can't
question.
get over that.
My last question. Fascinating.
My father came here legally.
You know, my
Millions
parents
of
came here
Hispanics
into this country
came
as
here
immigrants too, Steve.
legally. So no,
you know
I'm
what?
not
My
going to
parents
agree
came
to
here
your
too.
terms
So congratulations
and use
on that.
code words. That's absurd.
You just used a code word. And let's go one
No,
last
you
question.
did.
I'm going to
No,
see if you
you
can do
did.
it without, upsetting and disturbing and offending lots of people who are listening.
Cortez, who's actually Latino, he has to defend himself against Joy Reid, who's offended on behalf of Latinos for Cortez describing people who are illegally as illegals. I mean, this is the nature of the conversation you're getting in the political discourse with a surrogate for the Trump campaign and a host on MSNBC. How do you expect we're going to, get someplace where you can actually move substantive policy and get to kind of the interests of all of the unwashed masses in the minds of the D.C. elite that live between New York and L.A. I mean, this is illustrative of part of the problem with the national discourse.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Message and data rates may apply.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, text LEARN to 42424. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, text LEARN to 42424. Again, that's LEARN to 42424.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, how is Hillary Clinton's immigration proposal? Well, you'll learn about it. But first, let's go to the newsroom, and here is Mike Scott.
Outside, we have mostly clear skies. Sunrise in Chicago at 6:32. The first hurricane to make landfall in Florida in over 10 years is now a weaker tropical storm, but still causing problems. Hermine slammed into an area known as the Big Bend, where Florida's Panhandle and Peninsula meet. It came ashore as a Category 1 hurricane with 80-mile-an-hour winds. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump promising a new legacy for America.
A new era of American greatness is going to begin. And it's going to start a little ahead of schedule. We'll consider the start date November 8th.
Campaigning in Ohio, Donald Trump. Records of who Hillary Clinton met during her time as Secretary of State will be coming out soon. The State Department has reversed course and will now release records in mid-October. The explosion of a Falcon 9 rocket, a major setback for SpaceX and Facebook. The internet giant's Amos 6 communications satellite was destroyed when the rocket blew up on the launch pad during testing at Cape Canaveral. Funerals for 2 nuns killed in their Mississippi home will take place today. Sister Margaret Held will be laid to rest near Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sister Paula Merrill will be buried in Nazareth, Kentucky. Samsung recalling all Galaxy Note 7 smartphones sold around the world. Some users reported those devices catching fire. Now, you may know the Note 7 has only been out since August 19. Mayor Rahm Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times the mayor is planning to hire hundreds of additional police officers. A church deacon in suburban Roselle is accused of sexually assaulting a young girl. Timothy Peltz appeared in DuPage County Court yesterday on charges of predatory criminal sexual assault. Prosecutors claim he assaulted the victim repeatedly over a 10-year period at the Living Hope Bible Church in Roselle. Thursday night, NFL football. Bears capped the preseason with a win over Cleveland, 21-7. College football kicks off. Western Illinois over Eastern Illinois, 38-21. Cubs over San Francisco, 5-4. And the Twins end a 13-game losing skid with a win over the White Sox, 8-5. The news service of Bank of America. Want cash back at Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's today? Use your Bank Americard Cash Rewards Visa credit card. Earn 2% cash back at wholesale clubs. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
So what happens if Hillary Clinton wins? Dennis Prager explains.
There are people who are never Trump who don't engage the price paid if the Democrats win. Please understand, it is a permanently left-wing court if Hillary Clinton wins. Permanent. Many of you will be dead before the possibility of undoing it happens. Dead. Okay? Is that clear?
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days are finally here. Find great deals on all your favorite brands. Don't miss out on their largest sale of the season at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates and Hammond.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in today's economy, the IRS has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Qualifying for this program will resolve your tax problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back taxes by up to 90%. If you are facing wage garnishments, liens, bank levies, audits, or payroll taxes, it's not too late. Your circumstances may qualify you for this special program, protecting your savings and your assets. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's no need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free information, call 800-352-4757. 800-352-4757. That's 800-352-4757.
I've been taking the Balance of Nature fruits and veggie capsules for many years. What hooked me was something I wasn't expecting. I was playing golf with one of my friends, and midway through the round, he looks over at me and says, "What's going on here? You're killing me. Did you get new clubs or something?" It dawned on me that the only thing I'm doing different is taking Balance of Nature. I've been a 15 handicap golfer for a long time. 3 months after I started taking the fruits and veggies, I started dropping strokes off my handicap. Even my sons noticed I was playing better. I told them, when I started getting enough fruits and veggies in my diet, I felt better. Better concentration, better swing. When you feel better, you play better.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
637. Thank goodness we don't have hurricanes. Tallahassee is a city without electricity. 140,000 people without power, and they're about half counted, they say, right now, as Hurricane Hermine, downgraded to a tropical storm, blows through the Florida panhandle this morning. Quiet for us on our roads and in the traffic center, Jim Talamonte.
Yeah, Mike, after hearing that, the inbound Stevenson doesn't sound that bad. It is very slow from Harlem to Kedzie and approaching Lakeshore Drive. 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, but better than being in a storm. On the outbound Stevenson, you've got about a 4 or 5 minute delay from Kedzie to Cicero. Eden's just 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 27. The Eisenhower's 45 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 34. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57's 30 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop Ford 25. Traffic is a service of Little Caesars, home of the large $5 hot and ready pepperoni pizza. Little Caesars, where they took pieces of their delicious crazy bread, covered them with melted cheese and bacon, threw in a side of jalapenos, and created loaded crazy bread bites. They're hot and ready every day from 4 to 8 and only $4. Plus tax at participating locations. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Nice day ahead, plenty of sunshine, 74. Low of 57 overnight and 77 tomorrow. 65 reported at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
See Alan West and Michelle Malkin at Freedom Summit Chicago 2016. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Yeah, I can use big words too. Okay.
Copious.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Common spelling, by the way.
Yes.
With a C.
Right. So more on Hillary's emails. Every day, as Judicial Watch does the job that the Department of Justice won't do, we get more.
It's their former boss.
Yeah, well, no, I
She's
mean,
got
of course.
friends still there. They want to protect her.
Look, I understand.
And protect themselves.
I understand that she's above the law and her associates are above the law. I mean, I get it. That message is clear. Received. I'm just relaying information about the contents of some of these emails so people know exactly what was going on, that is no longer illegal, at least not when Hillary Clinton and Clinton Inc. allies are the purveyors of certain conduct and communications and favors and so forth. So this is, again, Judicial Watch. New emails show that Clinton Foundation donors lobbied Mrs. Carlos Danger for diplomatic passports.
Oh, really?
Why is this important? This is a Wall Street Journal story on this as well. This is important because diplomatic passports come with certain advantages: easy passage at international borders, access to special lines at airports, no tax liability on certain sources of income, and relaxed visa restrictions. State Department official talking to the Wall Street Journal said, former presidents from time to time may undertake official work on behalf of the U.S. government. Former presidents are entitled to diplomatic passports, but diplomatic passports are not granted to accompanying staff. Well, accompanying staff in the realm of Clinton Inc. Didn't like that protocol. Doug Band and Justin Cooper reached out to Uma in 2009 when she served as deputy chief of staff at State and asked her to help in obtaining diplomatic passports for them, and as well as a third individual. The response from Abaddon was, we'll figure it out.
Oh.
Band at the time, a former aide to President Clinton, before founding Teneo Holdings, which is this global advisory firm that has both President Clinton as a client and a paid consultant. That's also where Abaddon, Mrs. Carlos Danger, worked simultaneous to her time at the State Department. Cooper.
Even that sounds like a conflict of interest.
Well, of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, she's at the State Department, but she's also working on the side at Teneo and their clients. And Doug Band also sought meetings, emails released, sought meetings between Mrs. Clinton and the Crown Prince of Bahrain, calling him a, quote, good friend of ours. That's the same Doug Band, the same Teneo Holdings. The Kingdom of Bahrain has donated between $50,000 and $100,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton, friend of the show, has said the idea the State Department would even consider a diplomatic passport for Clinton Foundation executives is beyond belief. Well, it's certainly, again, according to State, not the normal course of business, something to which staff, much less donors, are not entitled to. So that's an interesting development. The more favors they're doling out and kind of special privileges. You know what this is starting to remind me of? It's starting to remind me, and like on a global scale, exponentially bigger, but the same kind of corruption that is endemic to Illinois. And I think came into focus during George Ryan's years. So it was selling everything that isn't nailed down. Low-digit license plates.
That's right.
$25,000 for a low-digit. You want a low-digit license plate? No problem.
$25,000?
No, $25,000 donation. You get a low-digit license plate. You want a CDL license?
Well, that went for what, $75 or
well,
$150?
I mean, the prices vary depending on the facility, I suppose, and the seller. But the point was, we were selling licenses to generate money, to buy tickets, to kick back up to, the mothership, the George Ryan Political Campaign Fund. And, of course, we know that corruption led to the 6 children being burned up on a Wisconsin highway, the Reverend Scott and Janet Willis children, because you had somebody on the road that shouldn't have been on the road.
Right.
But that's the thing. The same thing here. Sell everything. Sell everything that isn't nailed down. Leverage everything we have, every relationship, every perk, privilege, monopoly that is enjoyed on the government side. Leverage that for the Clinton Foundation. Leverage the Clinton Foundation for the State Department. We'll put staff there. We'll put staff at the foundation. We'll solicit donations to the foundation. We'll put staff with our preferred consultants so they can make a little extra side cash. Staff will work for our clients as well as our donors, as well as the American people at State.
Mm-hmm.
And,
it's a huge gobbledygook of
It's the state
wrongdoing.
it's the State Department sponsored by the Clinton
Well, I
Foundation.
have to tell you, my son asked me yesterday, he said, Mom, I am so sick of hearing about Hillary's emails. And I said, well, do you know what the latest one is? That she deleted 30 emails pertaining to the Benghazi attack. And I made them see the movie 13 Hours. I made them watch that, and they actually learned something from it. And I said, she's covering up wrongdoing, and she should be in jail. I mean, she committed a crime if she destroyed those emails, which she did do.
Bleach it,
right? And then I explained the Bleach It app and how that works. But people they're just so immune. They hear Hillary Clinton emails and they just tune out.
Well,
and my Kinkle caucus as well.
Well, they
nice talk with them yesterday about. Do you realize what she did?
Well, they may tune out, but 70% of people in this country don't find her untrustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe her. So, no, it's having an impact. The idea that, nobody's paying attention. Well, nobody in that rarefied space in D.C. in the halls of power may be paying attention or doing much about this.
Are people in Chicago paying attention?
Well, the point is, north of 2/3 of the American people get it. Mm-hmm. They completely get it. She is a liar. She is a grifter. She is corrupt to her core. She will sell everything that she can to enrich herself as well as to aggrandize her power. That's what she's about. And that is clear to everyone, which is why you don't really hear defenses for Hillary Clinton, even from the lobotomized ladies in Lakeview. You hear attacks on Donald Trump. And I understand they're both target-rich environments, but Hillary Clinton is precisely who we said she is, to borrow a line from Dennis Green, paraphrase line from Dennis Green, may he rest in peace. How pervasive is it? Listen to this. We talked to Charles Hortel earlier this week about all of the revised paperwork that the Clinton Foundation has had to file to comply with laws governing 501c3 charity organizations. All the paperwork that they haven't filed that is still required. The audits that have never been done. The money that is misaccounted for, or at least there are discrepancies. I mean, it's chapter and verse, and Hortel does a great job just pulling from publicly available documents to piece this all together and to show where the incongruities are. But Charity Navigator, you know Charity Navigator, right?
Oh, yeah.
You go there to get the ratings on Charity, see overhead and who's
how much of your dollar is actually going to the organization or to helping people.
Charity Navigator, which previously didn't score the Clinton Foundation because of concerns about accountability and transparency, provided a 4-star rating for the Clinton Foundation, giving the nonprofit 97.5 on financial issues, 93 on accountability and transparency. This is a new rating. How pervasive is the corruption? This 4-star rating, after it was announced by the Associated Press, AP did a little digging. $20,000 Clinton Global Initiative membership fee was waived for Charity Navigator. Which reported it as an in-kind contribution. So now you can't trust Charity Navigator to inform your philanthropic giving, which I do. I used to. I'm not going to do it ever again. Now I'm going to have to go to GiveWell or one of the other sites that rates charities. But they can even get to these, quote-unquote independent rating agencies that are informing other people's donations.
Wow. So they paid them off, too.
I mean, it's just, and Charity Navigator, to their shame, allowed themselves to be compromised as well. It's a two-way street. But I mean, it's just never ending. That they're a virus, Clinton Inc. A virus.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine for your Friday. A long weekend awaits us. We're going to have a high of 74 degrees tonight, a low in the 50s. And then over the weekend, you might have to turn on that air conditioning again. Saturday, it's going to be plenty of sunshine, a high of 77. Warmer on Sunday, highs in the low 80s. And on Monday for your Labor Day, just spectacular. Plenty of sunshine, warm, a high in the upper 80s. Any high travel times on this Get Out of Town Friday? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy and Dan. It's getting heavy on the eastbound Reagan Tollway, 88, from the Aurora Toll to Eola, and then from Myers to Midwest, there's a bit of a delay. Northbound Tri-State, slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eastbound Adams Tollway, a little sluggish approaching the Kennedy. And on the inbound Kennedy, it's now 31 minutes, so Hare to downtown quicker than the Express. Outbound 27 minutes. Eden's 21 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Eisenhower now 51 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 38. Stevenson 53 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38. And the Ryan 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Crash at 63rd in the express lanes, right lanes blocked. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. A closer look today on America's employment picture. Mortgage rates are on the way up, and a big settlement.
She stated to the firefighters that
those stories next.
She gave them information about some allergies that the kids may have. I'm proud of this young woman for what she did.
When it comes to prosecuting this poor woman, that they take into consideration the intent of the law. And the intent is to save the babies.
With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins and store them where you can actually hold them in your hands.
Well, it's
you can get your gold fast in a disaster. Call Augusta Precious Metals today at 855-222.
I regret using that language, absolutely. I am very angry and very disappointed at Mr. Danzelo for his comments. I think he is putting everything we're trying to do back to square one with his comments like that. And people are feeling, I can't tell you how many people in the community said to me, we just feel now like the police have said, to go to the community to go to hell. So I regret the emotional response I made.
As the trading
I
week
do
wraps
not
up, the
regret
Labor
the
Department
anger
said
and
yesterday
disgust
that the
at what
number of
he's
people
saying and
collecting
doing.
unemployment has fallen 4.4% from a year ago.
I don't know who created
Economic reports out today will
Pokemon
further
Go.
clarify the employment situation, as well as factory orders and
But
international
I'm
trade.
trying to figure
Early
out
signals
how
are
we
that as
get them
many
to
as
have Pokemon Go
180,000
to the
jobs were added in
polls.
August. As financial markets react to indications of Federal Reserve interest rate hike may be on the horizon, long-term U.S. mortgage rates rose this week. The average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was up to 3.46%. CVS drugstores will pay $795,000 to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and agree to tighten its policies for dispensing opioids to help curb abuse of the addictive medications. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. I'm Keith Peters for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Well, the last of the kiddies go back to school on Tuesday. Not that I'm waiting, but if you're disappointed with your public school or your child's teacher, maybe it's time to make the switch and send your child to a private school. And you can make that switch for half the price off regular tuition when you visit halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find dozens of local private schools that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at, you guessed it, half the price. There's no catch. It's real simple. Find a school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and make the school switch. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Waukegan, Kankakee, Romeoville, Libertyville, Wheaton, Chicago, just to name a few. And the school year is here, so don't wait another day. Don't wait another minute. And don't settle for a public school that isn't right for you and your child. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick IAQ test for my buddy Bill.
Wait, I didn't study.
IAQ stands for Indoor Air Quality, something 1 hour excels at.
Well, I aced my SATs, so...
Yes or no? Do you breathe inside your home?
Yeah.
And what do you breathe?
Air.
And what's in that air?
Air?
Sorry, we were looking for dust mites, household pollutants, even formaldehyde.
Wait, I need to move.
Or you could call 1 hour and improve your IAQ.
That sounds smarter.
Let's see how you do with the disclaimer.
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Not bad.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
AM 560, The Answer.
So Dwayne Wade has finally spoken about his cousin's murder, Nakia Aldridge, and the fact that Donald Trump tweeted out that, you know, the shooting death of his cousin will get a lot of black support for Donald Trump, so to vote Trump. So Donald Trump politicized the death of Dwayne Wade's cousin, and he finally has spoken. He said it left a bad taste in his mouth.
Well, it was kind of conflicted. You know, it's like on one end, your cousin's death is used as a as a ploy for political gain. On the other end, it's a national story. It goes back to that for me. I want eyes on this city. I want us to be able to do more together. And the only way we can do more together if more people know what's going on. So I was grateful that it started a conversation. But on the other end, it's just a bad taste in my mouth because of what my family is dealing with and what our city of Chicago is dealing with, and it looks like it's been used as a political game.
That's a thoughtful answer.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, I can understand why he feels conflicted about it. I don't have any problem with that answer.
No, he did, and the rest of the interview is going to air later today on Good Morning America.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance. But they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller, the mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's a national story, Chicago violence. We'll talk about what the FOP is doing about it this weekend at 7:07.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and check in with Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, there is an investigation underway after two were found dead in a burned minivan on Chicago's southwest side overnight. Mayor Emanuel planning to hire hundreds of police officers, and Congressman Rush claims he was profiled. Bears wrap up the preseason with a win. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It came ashore on Florida's Gulf Coast with hurricane winds and a lot of rain and a storm surge that's flooded coastal areas, but Hermine is already weakened. Now a tropical storm. Fox's Evan Brown tracking it live from Miami.
Dave, weakened, yes, but not weak. Hermine's winds are still holding at 70 miles an hour.
I'm seeing a large limb and a large tree laying on my house, and It's just howling and just being very hurricane-ish.
Progress Energy, the power utility in much of the stricken area in Florida, is reporting tens of thousands of customers in the dark this morning. And the center of the system is about 50 miles or so northeast of Tallahassee, meaning it's headed well into Georgia now and continuing to dump a lot of rain. Georgia Power says 45,000 customers are already knocked out, Dave.
Evan, Hurricane Lester is closing in on Hawaii. A Category 3 storm is currently forecast to pass just north of the islands. Samsung is recalling a smartphone worldwide.
There are numerous reports and videos online of Galaxy Note 7s exploding while they're being charged. A company investigation has determined the batteries are to blame.
That's Fox's Kathleen Maloney. Hillary Clinton will not be out campaigning today, but the Democrat does have a new plan dealing with drug prices. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
David, sticker shock at pharmacy counters over a life-saving EpiPen. Clinton is unveiling her proposal to keep prescription drug costs down. Clinton says she plans to create a drug pricing consumer response team, which will monitor drug price increases. Based on findings, the government could impose penalties on pharmaceutical companies as well as intervene to make more treatments available. The cost of EpiPens, which treat severe allergies, have exploded from about $100 a pack to $600 over the past decade. Dave.
Rachel, Donald Trump will today get another national security briefing. An update on the economy is coming in a half hour. The monthly jobs report, economists expect about 180,000 people found new work in August. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Skies are mostly clear. We have 62 degrees, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. An investigation is underway. 2 bodies were found in a burned minivan on Chicago's southwest side. Police say fire crews discovered the bodies early this morning after extinguishing a blaze near 31st and South Harding. The victims' identities have not yet been released. Mayor Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times the mayor's planning to hire hundreds of additional police officers. Meantime, Chicago's police union is repeating its call for officers to resist working overtime shifts over the Labor Day weekend. It's called FOP Unity Days. A memo suggests officers spend time with their families. This morning, the search for a 17-year-old Christopher Mimis is expected to resume in Lake Michigan near Holland State Park. Following the recovery yesterday of a 14-year-old's body, Kevin Baker is an inexperienced swimmer near Holland, Michigan. Says rip currents grabbed many swimmers yesterday.
That wave comes, and I was out there, and it knocks you over, and it pushes you, and the undertow will then come, residual, if you will then come and take your feet from under you.
Green and Mimis drowned Wednesday while swimming with 2 other teenagers who were able to get out of that rough surf. Mimis had just moved to Holland, Michigan from Chicago. Governor Rauner firing 29 state workers. AM 560's David Stewart explains why.
The 29 were employed as staff assistants at the Department of Transportation, but Rauner says a state ethics probe found that the job of staff assistant was created as an exempt executive job, enabling Quinn to put patronage workers on the payroll without going through the personnel procedures designed to eliminate political hiring and firing. The report found that the practice predated Quinn, but that this kind of hiring escalated in his administration. Rauner says the 29 pink slips are an effort to restore citizens' faith in state government. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Chicago sports found the Bears winners over Cleveland as they wrap up the NFL preseason, 21-7 for the Bears. Cubs over San Francisco 5-4, and Twins beat the White Sox 8-5. The news a service of Little Caesars, home of the large $5 hot and ready pepperoni pizza. Little Caesars, where they took pieces of their delicious crazy bread, then covered them with melted cheese and bacon, and threw in a side of jalapenos and created loaded crazy bread bites. They are hot and ready every day from 4 to 8. Only $4 plus tax at participating locations. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-400-9591. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra $400 off your all-laser LASIK procedure. That's $200 off per eye. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-400-9591. 1-800-400-9591.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson, candidate for President of the United States, and I approve this message. Like 60% of you, I'm not impressed by the two-party system. It's a dinosaur. It's outmoded and no longer reflects today's America. Two-party politics doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for anybody but itself in decades. If we the people are wise, we will never again elect another president from within the entrenched, corrupt, co-opted two-party system. The office of president should serve the needs of everyone equally with respect and with fairness. I did it as governor, I'll do it as president. Google me. 60% of you have said you want another choice in 2016, and now you have one in me. We the people have a chance to do something in 2016 that may not come around again in our lifetimes. We have a legitimate chance to elect one of our own to the highest office in the land.
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
7:06. Let's get an update on the roads in our AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens is light. 19 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 21, just a little heavy Montrose to Cicero. The Kennedy, 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 35 with delays past Montrose. The Eisenhower, 51 minutes Thorndale to the post office. 38 from Manheim. Outbound 38 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 30 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 427. Northbound tri-state delays are from Archer to the Grange Road, from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Adams Tollway's fine, Reagan Tollway's slow, the Aurora Toll to Eola, Myers to Midwest. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, a full day of sunshine with a high of 74. Then tonight, another full day of sunshine. Tomorrow, high 77 and a partly cloudy night, low 59. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, we have 64 at O'Hare, 67 along the lakefront. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Well, I think it's a misunderstanding. You know, the media painted this as I'm anti-American, anti-men and women of the military, and that's not the case at all.
I am going to create a new special deportation task force.
I argued, and I think most people on the council did, for a bit of a softer tone than he decided on.
This same speech has been given throughout our history against the Irish, against Italian-American immigrants, against Jews coming from Eastern Europe.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, is Hillary still using that tired Pokemon Go line?
It is awesome. I cannot hear that enough. Pokemon Go to the polls. She's trying to be hip. She's trying to be in with the kiddies, you know?
She's
the hippest grandma around. And she plays Pokemon Go, I think.
She's a scream. Chicago violence national story. Deadliest August in 2 decades. We have passed the 2015 murder total with a third of the year left to go. The murder total from last year as compared to this year. Tiny Dancer apparently just got wind of this and is now, according to one of his aldermanic spokesbeings, is going to hire more police officers.
Well, aren't we down about 3,000 police officers? I mean, at 300 police officers?
From when?
From 15 years ago?
Yeah, I know we're down essentially the tenure of Tiny Dancer. We're down 25% on detectives.
Okay.
I don't know what the overall staffing levels are, but
I mean, just think 90 people were killed in August alone.
Whether it's a personnel problem, a leadership problem, a resource allocation problem, probably a lot of all of the above, starting, as I always like to start with, because that's, I think, where you need to begin, with the political civilian leadership. That's who was elected to run the city. That's who's accountable to the voters for their personnel decisions and their policy decisions. And I got to tell you, it's very interesting how slow on the uptake Tiny Dancer has been. You know why?
Why?
Because he's not running for re-election.
Are you sure about that?
I think so.
You think it's really over for Tiny Dancer?
Yeah. But
he's a control freak, and he's power hungry.
If he was running for re-election, if he understands the politics of these things, he would be more demonstrative about what's happening. He would be more engaged. He wouldn't be saying things like he said last week about
to remind people this is
just kind
unbelievable.
Of anything police related. You go talk to Eddie Johnson, the police chief. I mean, that's not my deal. That's Eddie Johnson's deal.
He passed it off. He passed the buck. I mean, it's not his responsibility. That's what he said.
If you were running for re-election, being the kind of cynical political hack that he is, you would at least be giving the appearance of doing more, because you're going to be held to account what's going on in the city, even by people who voted for him a second time.
I have no idea who would have done that.
Some who should have known better. But it also says something about his character and about the character of the Chicago political culture, doesn't it? If I'm not running for re-election, well, then who cares if people are getting murdered? That's essentially it. Okay, fine. We'll hire more cops.
Yeah, well, that's what people have been asking, especially people near his neighborhood.
It's this backdrop. The Chicago Fraternal Order of Police sent out a memo Wednesday. We mentioned it previously, but get your reaction to it. Declaring this weekend, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through the 5th, FOP Unity Days, and urging its 10,000 members, 10,000 Chicago police officers, to not volunteer, not to do their jobs and do their shift, but to not volunteer for overtime. And according to the memo, that missive is to, quote, and recommendation is to show unity and to protest the continued disrespect of Chicago police officers and the killings of law enforcement officers across our country. Your reaction to that, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line, because we had a reaction to that from Father Pfleger on Wednesday.
Yeah, Father Pfleger told Dean Angelo, the FOP president, to go to hell. And Father Pfleger has since walked that back. He was on WGN TV this morning, and his apology, non-apology, you decide.
I regret using that language, absolutely. I am very angry and very disappointed at Mr. D'Angelo for his comments. I think he is putting everything we're trying to do back to square one with his comments like that, and people are feeling. I can't tell you how many people in the community said to me, "We just feel now like the police have said to go to the community to go to hell." So I regret the emotional response I made. I do not regret the anger and disgust at what he's saying and doing.
Yeah, boy, all of a sudden, Father Pfleger is Mr. Law and Order.
Yeah, looky there.
All of a sudden, he doesn't like union solidarity. All of a sudden, going back to square one. Square one.
What?
Going back to square one of what you're doing? What you've been doing for 30 years? What have you been doing besides running your mouth? You Archie comic book character with a bad attitude.
Well, he did run his mouth, and he also went after Governor Rauner.
So I'm asking Governor Rauner, call a state of emergency for the city of Chicago.
Yeah, and he wanted the National Guard sent out to certain neighborhoods, his neighborhood in particular. He also took the American flag in front of St. Sabina's Church and flipped it upside down as a sign of distress.
Why do we need a state of emergency in Chicago? Why? What's the underlying reason we do? Oh, enlightened one, Father Pfleger. I mean, we got all your peeps in the positions of power from the president on down. President that you were so vociferous in support of, you'll recall. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, 8 years ago. Yeah.
When Hillary was crying, and people said that was put on, I really don't believe it was put on. She just always thought, this is mine. I'm Bill's wife. I'm white. And then out of nowhere came, hey, I'm Barack Obama. And she said, oh, damn, where did you come from? I'm white. I'm entitled. There's a black man stealing my show. She wasn't the only one crying. There was a whole lot of white people crying.
There's Father Pfleger, man of the cloth, the embodiment of Christian love.
I mean, isn't Christianity about forgiveness and kindness, or is it about revenge and anger? And the reason I've held on to that soundbite for 8 years is because I was infuriated. I thought, how can he be a person of the cloth, a person of God, a preacher that people in his neighborhood look up to and just destroy and mock Hillary Clinton or anybody for that matter? It's like Jeremiah Wright, Reverend Wright.
The indignation should not be directed at Father Pfleger. He's a racial demagogue. He's a political hack. He's a social justice quack. It should be directed at people who could do something about it. And that's the Archdiocese of Chicago. Loved Cardinal George. He should have defrocked him.
Well, wasn't there talk of that when Cardinal George was in?
Well, he was disciplined.
He was disciplined, right?
But the discipline didn't go far enough. He should have been removed from the church. And this has been the problem with the church. And, of course, you know, it's run by civilians. I'm speaking as a Catholic. And there's just another sinner out there. But, you know, the church hasn't abided its principles, whether you talk about the sex abuse scandal or other instances of bad actors like a Father Pfleger. We don't want to suffer the political consequences to do the right thing. We don't want to anger the black parishioners that go to St. Sabina by removing Pfleger. Well, you know, you let a cancer go untreated, then it metastasizes. And that's what Father Pfleger is in Chicago. He's a parasite. He's a cancer. He's Jesse Jackson Sr. minus some of the corporate shakedown rackets. He's a disgrace.
Have you ever been to one of his services?
No. I think I'm going to go, though.
You should. I went one time when he paid prostitutes to get off the street. He gave them $50 to go to church.
Oh, yeah? Did that turn their life around?
Well, I interviewed one when she was leaving, and I said, what are you going to do with the money? She said, I'm going to go get my nails done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the...
but it draw attention to his church, free publicity for him, and all the news stations were there.
Because he's a demagogue and a political hack. He is not a spiritual leader. And that's a good illustration of it. That's how he thinks you solve policies. You solve systemic problems in the inner city. People destroying their lives by being a prostitute. People shooting each other. Oh, you take everybody's guns away. That's a solution for that. Because he's just another social justice simp.
He was assigned to that church, 30 years ago? He hasn't left. He hasn't given up on the people. I just don't know how he knows how to lead the people.
Spare me giving up on the people.
Well, at least
this is
I admire about him.
Father Pfleger. This is about Father Pfleger.
All right. Well, he lives there. He works there. He's embedded in the community.
Yeah. And what's the record? What's the record?
It's not good.
Yeah. Auburn Gresham is one of those shooting galleries that we talk about routinely. It's responsible for a significant portion of the murders and the murder victims, the murderers and the victims of the murderers. So how's it going? And he just keeps beating the same drum. And by the way, it's the Father Pfleger position. It's not like Father Pfleger's worldview hasn't been tried. His is the worldview of the political power class in Chicago for the last 100 years. They've done his bidding. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. They take the same exact approach. And what has it done? It's destroyed lives. That's what it's done. It's hollowed out urban centers. The idea, black families, oh, by the way, have fled Chicago, the ones who could, because of people like Father Pfleger. He's responsible. Go to Corliss High School. Go to Fenger. Go to CVS. Schools that had 2,000 and 3,000 kids 20, 25 years ago, now they have 200 and 300. Where'd they go? Father Pfleger. It's never ending. And the sad thing is the number of people who follow these Pied Pipers to decimation, Pied Pipers to destitution. And then you don't have people who know better speak up and say, this guy's got to go. This guy treat this guy like the pariah that he is, the predator that he is. He's disgusting, despicable. As I said before, to paraphrase Thomas Jefferson, if I could not go to heaven but with Father Pfleger, I would not go at all. John in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi. I don't know if you guys saw, but one of the news clips, I only saw it one time, because the liberal press deletes everything that is bad. Father Pfleger's lying down, and he looks at his watch, a little bit like, I don't know if you saw what, they looked at George H.W. during one of his debates. He looked at his watch, and the whole world had to end because he was looking at his watch. And Father Pfleger was doing this thing, looking at his watch like he had something else to do. He's a complete fraud.
Thanks for the call, John. Yeah, it's just a big show. Just a big show.
They do live broadcasts at their 11:15 a.m. if you want to go.
Oh, thank you.
I'm looking at the schedule. You can go to 8:30, 10 a.m. or 11:15.
Oh.
Or Saturdays at 5.
I got to get a jump on my day, so I'll have to hit the 8:30 service. That'd be fun. Wonder if I'll get a rebuttal to his homily. Alex and Zion, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. How you guys doing? I'd like to comment on what you were saying about Father Pfleger. I believe Amy Jacobson, you're the one who said that he's been embedded in the community, correct?
Yeah,
and
he's lived
Dan,
there.
Just previously to that, you said that he was a parasite. Well, the only parasite that I know embeds himself into something would be a tick. And a tick is a blood-sucking vermin and a parasite. So you exactly pegged him correctly, and he's sucking the lifeblood out of the church instead of giving to what he's supposed to be doing. If he's a man of a cloth, as he says he is, then maybe he should, rethink his policies, rethink his community embedment, if you will.
Thanks for the call, Alex. And one other thing, in terms of the Pfleger rules with the church and the church's failure here. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this when we previously talked about it, but to reiterate, the policy for priests in Chicago, they move every 12 years. Everyone has had to leave a parish they love in which they were embedded.
Yes.
Not Father Pfleger. Special rules for him. Why? Performance-based exemption? I don't think so. Dan on the Northwest Side.
Well, I think it's come to the point that the people in the neighborhood, the good God-fearing, law-abiding people who live in the west side and the south side, have got to start patrolling their own streets, arm themselves up with shotguns, rifles. They all have cell phones. They can work directly with the police. They got to start identifying these automobiles, start writing down the license plates, start arresting the murderers. I listened to radio, public radio yesterday, and said, we got to get rid of the guns. No, we got to get rid of the murderers.
Yeah.
Mass murderers in Chicago. People that have killed 10, 20, and 30 people are roaming our streets, and nobody cares. Tribune, Sun-Times, ABC, NBC, CBS, nobody cares.
Thanks, Dan.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Could not ask for a better 3-day Labor Day weekend, that's for sure. Today, plenty of sunshine. It's already out and about, a high of 74 degrees, and it just keeps getting progressively warmer. Saturday, a high of 77. Sunday, 82. And on Monday for Labor Day, plenty of sunshine, a high in the upper 80s. Let's get the travel times. Anyone trying to get out of town? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, happy Friday. Things look great in Northwest Indiana. If you're headed that way, no issues to report on 8094, the Indiana Toll Road, or I-65. I-80 is wide open, and southern Wisconsin looks great, too. Eastbound Adams Tollway coming into Chicago, not so much. It's a real traffic jam from Bartlett Road to Roselle Road, which is crash blocking 2 left lanes. Northbound Tri-States, though, Archer to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to 31st, and very slow from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Reagan Tollway slow, Farnsworth Tuyola. Veterans Memorial, heavy 75th to the Reagan Tollway. The Edens is great inbound, 19 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound it's 21. The Kennedy now 43 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 35. The Eisenhower an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 40 minutes. The Stevenson is 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38. And the Ryan 25 minutes from 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Hey, by now you've heard that Freedom Summit 2016 is coming back to Chicago on Saturday, October 29th.
Happening at the Chicago Westin Northwest in Itasca. It's lovely in October. Our keynote dinner speaker will be Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Our keynote lunch speaker will be Michelle Malkin.
And AM 560's Mike Gallagher will also be there, and we'll be there as well, and we'll be announcing some other names shortly. But here's the important news. After Labor Day, ticket prices are going up. So if you've been waiting to get your tickets, don't wait anymore unless you want to pay more. Get them today. There are a few premium gold seats remaining and plenty of premium silver and economy tickets. They start at just $34, but that price will increase in a few short days. So go to freedomsummitchicago.com to buy yours. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. freedomsummitchicago.com. I can't say it enough. freedomsummitchicago.com.
I think you have, actually.
And join us on October 29th.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And, after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with a 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Joyce called to lower her rate and pay her loan off in 27 years. I helped Joyce secure a 27-year fixed loan, saved her $45 a month, and paid all her closing costs. $45 a month might not sound like a lot, but Joyce will apply the savings to her new mortgage payment to pay her loan off in 25 years and save her over $20,000 in mortgage payments. I lowered Joyce's rate, payment, and saved her over $20,000 in mortgage payments. If you want to see if I could help you like I helped Joyce, Give me a call at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License D4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We will have the August jobs numbers, and we'll go over them with Fox Business News contributor Scott Shalady. Does the malaise of full employment continue at 7:37?
And later, Pam Anderson says porn is for losers. We'll explain why she said that. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, 64. Hermine, no longer a hurricane this morning, but still causing quite a mess after making landfall in Florida overnight. Dennis Feltgren is with the National Hurricane Center.
It has now been downgraded to a tropical depression, just barely below hurricane strength. That's 70 miles per hour maximum sustained winds. As we speak, the center of Hermine, as tropical storm, is located about 50 miles to the northeast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Residents of the Hawaiian Islands hoping Lester follows Madeline and spares them a direct blow. Lester is a major Category 3 storm on track to pass just north of the island chain. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump will take part in what's being called the first ever Commander-in-Chief Forum next Wednesday. Trump's son Eric, just on Fox News, says he hopes moderator Matt Lauer will be fair.
You see some of the stations over at NBC, MSNBC in particular. I mean, it may as well be a super PAC against Trump.
Lauer will moderate the forum live from New York City. There's global chaos this morning in the shipping industry following the bankruptcy of the Hanjin shipping line. It's left giant container ships marooned and merchants worrying whether tons of goods will reach shelves. 27 ships so far have been refused entry to ports. Samsung recalling all Galaxy Note 7 smartphones sold around the world after some users reported the devices catching fire. Mayor Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times the mayor's planning to hire hundreds of additional police officers. And Congressman Bobby Rush complaining he was racially profiled by Chicago police after two officers recently pulled him over on the south side. Tribune says officers did stop Rush because they thought the vanity license plate with the number 1 on his Lexus was the number 1 that belonged to a Cadillac registered on the north side. They were mistaken. After about an hour after the encounter, Rush filed a complaint with the Independent Police Review Authority. Thursday NFL preseason, Bears over Cleveland 21-7. Cubs beat San Francisco. Minnesota over the White Sox. The news a service of Little Caesars, home of the large $5 hot and ready pepperoni pizza. At Little Caesars, they took pieces of their delicious crazy bread, then slathered it with melted cheese and bacon and threw in a side of jalapenos and created loaded crazy bread bites, hot and ready, every day from 4 to 8, only $4 plus tax at participating locations. 7:34 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager tries to explain the consequences of a Hillary win.
I am now convinced that most of those who are in the Never Trump camp, that they have the same understanding that I do. Now, my understanding may be in error, and theirs may be accurate. I don't think they understand the calamity of the Democratic presidential win in November.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
No matter who wins the presidential race, it's the most unusual election in our lifetimes. One candidate is an egomaniacal, scandal-plagued celebrity who can't go a day without spouting falsehoods. The other, a reality TV star. Hi-oh. Good grief. So laugh, don't cry by spending an evening with acclaimed author and humorist P.J. O'Rourke and Friends of Liberty from across America at the Heartland Institute's 32nd anniversary benefit dinner. For more than 3 decades, the Heartland Institute has worked to advance free markets and individual liberty, and P.J. O'Rourke has kept America laughing while advancing those principles. The Wall Street Journal called P.J. O'Rourke the funniest writer in America. Hear PJ's unique and hilarious perspective on the election of our lifetimes.
Government is a Rottweiler ready to be unleashed on your problems, and you've stuffed raw meat down the front of your pants.
Call 312-377-4000 or visit heartland.org for more info. This can't-miss event is September 15th in Palatine. That's 312-377-4000. Call now.
7:36. Let's get an update on the roads. AM 560 traffic center time. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound Adams Tollway, it is jammed from 59 to Roselle Road with a crash in the 2 left lanes. Northbound Tri-State heavy Archer to LaGrange Road from the Stevenson to 47th and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Northbound Veterans Memorial slow, 75th to the Reagan Tollway. Edens is 19 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, 47 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 35 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 6 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 41 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes from 95th to the Loop. Traffic service of Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Stop by your neighborhood Ace today for everything you need for your painting projects, like their best paint, Valspar Optimus, and all the high-quality sundries you need to get the job done right. Only at Ace, the helpful place. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Sunny and pleasant today, high 74. We'll have a low of 57 overnight. Currently 64. Next news are coming up at 8, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, and the August job numbers are out. 151,000 jobs added in August. It's below expectations of about 180. I think replacement rate is about 150,000 jobs, so it's running in place. Unemployment rate also remained in place at 4.9%. For more on these numbers, to try and attach a meaning to them, if that's even possible anymore, we're now joined by our friend Scott Shellady, Fox Business News contributor. Scott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning.
So do these numbers represent, these August job numbers represent just an extension of the malaise masquerading as full employment?
Yeah, 100%. And masquerading is a great word because, I don't even think the Fed knows what they're doing anymore because, we've seen unemployment rate go from 10% to 4.9% again today. But that brought us a 1% GDP rate. So for all the quantitative easing and everything we've thrown at this problem, we're only getting a GDP, a gross domestic product of 1%. That is so paltry. And the reason that we're sitting here is that they just don't know what to do. They've done this quantitative easing or bond buybacks to kind of stimulate the economy, but that's just a placeholder until we get some real true growth coming around the corner. But if you can imagine, this is how the Fed's been handling our economy. We've been going down the highway at 60 miles an hour and our engine explodes and starts on fire. The Fed pulls the car over to the side of the road, and they check the air in the tires. That has been their policy now for the past 7 years.
Well, Scott, what do you think the real unemployment rate is?
Well, it's going to be a lot higher because a lot of these, in this number, you've got a lot of people that are working second jobs. And so The problem is that we give this number too much importance. This is not what we should be looking at. We should be looking at inflation. And I'll tell you, we got some inflation numbers with this unemployment rate today. And guess what? We're not seeing any inflation. Average hourly earnings down. Average weekly hours down. So where is all of this full employment talk coming through? It's not showing up in what we're paying the employers, the employees. If we're bringing all these kids out of mom and pop's basement to go back to work, you'd think we'd have some wage pressure, but we're really not. So where are we in this economy? The problem is we are going to innovate and we are going to create wealth, but it's going to be in the upper 5%. The kids that are graduating from Stanford and Northwestern, and they're going to have great technological ideas, but the middle of America that owns all the student loan debt and the car auto loan debt, they're the ones that are going to get crushed because they're not going to be innovating and they're not going to be creating wealth.
Well, see, and that's exactly where I wanted to go. As we limp along to the end of the Obama regime's years, and we have a new president installed in January, what do you think is the kind of the economic crisis or crises the next president is most likely to face immediately? The student loan debt bubble, the public sector pension unfunded liabilities, that bubble, a negative interest rate environment. What do you see as the immediate economic policy challenge for the next president?
Well, I don't know if you've heard the term before, but everybody wants to talk about a black swan, this major event that makes the market crash. Well, I don't think we're going to see a black swan. I think it's going to be more like a gray duck. Something that's always been there, and we finally paid attention to it. And I think what that's going to be is that all the quantitative easing, all of this fiat money that these central banks are throwing around the world to try to stimulate their economies and cheapen their currencies, when the market slowly becomes immune to that, which is already showing signs, that is when the you-know-what hits the fan. Because that's the antidote. That's the only thing that they have to use. And when that doesn't work, we're in big trouble. So watch the markets start to become immune to some sort of central bank easing or quantitative easing, and when that happens is when the next president's got a lot on his hands or her hands.
So this is a momentous moment. Nassim Taleb came up with Black Swan. Scott Shellady, you got to trademark that. Gray Duck. Scott Shellady owns Gray Duck.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's it. It's going to be something that's been in the corner of the room that we've ignored, but it's been there a long time, and suddenly we pay attention to it.
So with these job numbers, do you think Janet Yellen, the Feds, are they going to raise rates at their next meeting in late September?
I know, shame on us for even thinking about it, but no, they're not going to raise interest rates, number one. And number two, we have to take what the Fed says with a grain of salt or maybe a block of salt, because if you remember, it was only 7 short months ago they were talking about raising rates 4 times this year. So they better get started if that's still the case, because we don't have that many more months left in the year. But I don't think she's going to touch interest rates now. She's looking for any reason not to, and she got one again today.
And the prospect, since both the presidential candidates are spending so much time talking about inshoring businesses, and particularly in the manufacturing sector, what are the prospects for that particular wealth-creating sector in the short term, and particularly against the backdrop of the gray duck that you spoke of?
Well, I mean, the problem is that we keep fighting these problems with some sort of monetary tools, which has only really been quantitative easing or cheapening your currency in the hopes of stoking some inflation your way. I mean, we need to find, like I said before, another planet that we can kind of maybe import that inflation from, because there's no more inflation on the globe here, and that's why these currency moves are not working, and quantitative easing is slowly but surely wearing off. I think going forward, the problem is taxation and regulation, but we can't solve that until sometime next year. And anybody that wants to talk about higher taxes or bigger government has got to be fooling themselves about getting ourselves out of this problem. It has to be fiscal, and it has to be taxation and lower taxes, and it has to be regulation, less regulation. That's the only way out. But that's a hard one for the politicians to really kind of sell to the electorate, because it's just something that nobody really likes to hear a lot about.
Just because you're a practitioner of the black arts and the financial trading and whatnot, do your colleagues, does anybody still put stock in the monthly jobs numbers from the Labor Department? Are they meaningful at all?
Well, they're only meaningful because we have to know what the enemy's thinking. So many people pay attention to it for no good reason, except for the fact that so many people pay attention to it.
Right.
I mean, these numbers have lost relevance when I say, like I said in the beginning of the show here. When you go from 10% unemployment to almost full employment, which is 4.5 or 4.7, whatever your number is, and you can't get any wage growth or wage inflation out of that, and your GDP has been shrinking the entire time, the engine is on fire and you're checking the air in the tires. That's what that tells me. So we aren't addressing the real problem. The real problem is growth, and the growth is going to come from lower taxes and less regulation.
All right, and last question. Your Twitter handle is Scott the Cow Guy, and you wear a cow, like a Holstein cow jacket on the floor. What's the deal with that?
Well, we have a family farm, Dan, and a long time ago my father wore that jacket because he started to get irritated about the fact that people thought this was like Las Vegas or Macau, where they would come down here and gamble. Well, there's an actual true economic function where we actually do discover price. And so when folks who come to the visitors gallery, they'd always point out the big guy in the cow jacket, and he would get a little bit of attention saying that, hey, there's a real economic issue that takes place down here, and that's price discovery. So I don't do just agriculture anymore. I do stocks, and we do fixed income products as well. But I kind of, wear the Game News jersey and to remind people that, we're actually doing something important.
I like it. I like it. All right. He's Scott Shalady, a.k.a. Scott the Cow Guy, Fox Business News contributor. Scott, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend, guys.
You too. And let's take a couple calls. Tom in Oswego.
Hi, good morning, Danny.
Morning.
I compare the economy right now to an alcoholic, a person who does drugs. And unfortunately, I speak from experience. Back in the 80s, I was that person. And you would keep drinking more and do more drugs to attain that high. And eventually, it just didn't work anymore. And that's what's happening with the economy. I'm a simple guy, but I can see that all this pumping of free money into the economy eventually is not going to work anymore. I think we're coming to that point. And it's going to come crashing down. And unfortunately, the government, they're going to just look for people to blame. You're going to see the exit doors, flying open really fast pretty soon.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate the call. Sean in Elmwood Park.
First of all, quantitative easing is such a fabric because it's coupled with algorithm trading, which is not based on fundamentals. That's why you have a Dow Jones
the high frequency trading that you're talking, right? High frequency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It works on layers and layers of math reacting to volatility in numbers, not fundamentals. So Amy asked a very important question. She said, what's the unemployment? If you counted the unemployment the way you did when Bill was mounting Monica, we would be over 20%. That's very, very important. Now, the GDP is within the error of margin. See, I know Scott. By the way, he wears the cow jacket because he hopes girls pet him. He's a sick son of a gun.
Oh, my
but anyway.
Or milk him. Oh, milk him for his money. Hey, that's what he meant.
But anyway, here's what's going to happen. Never take your eye off Vladimir Putin. For 15 years, if we get oil off the world market on the dollar, we will have a depression that will make the 30s look like a kid party. And if you couple that with tariffs, if you couple that with backhanded taxes and bigger government that both candidates, both these bottom-heavy 70-year-old women are talking about, it's over with. It's not about social engineering. It's about financial fraud, and they're both promoting it. We are no longer a fundamental economic country. We live on a high. And when's the last time you saw a congressman looked at for insider trading? They are immune by the laws. That's why they love it, because they're all getting very rich. Well, we're all wallowing here.
Thanks, Sean.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Georgetown is making some changes in the admissions department. Dan will explain. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine, a beautiful Labor Day weekend. Today, a high of 74. Tomorrow, a high of 77. The numbers keep going up. And on Sunday and on Monday, you're going to have to turn that AC back on because we're going to have highs in the mid to upper 80s. Any high travel times, any trouble spots? Here's Jim Delamonte with the answer.
Well, Amy, the eastbound Adams Tollway is a solid mess from Beverly Road to Roselle Road. A crash just cleared out of the two left lanes. It's a huge backup. Northbound Tri-States, little Archer to LaGrange Road from the Stevenson to 47th, from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Reagan Tollway pretty light. There's a delay. Farnsworth to Wyola. The Veterans Memorial slow. 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Lake Street to 290. Edens, 19 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, now 56 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 37. The Eisenhower's an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 45 minutes. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Heading out on I-80 westbound at Slow Francis before Richards, there's a crash. Jim Talamonte of the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Here's David Kolsak, president of Turnkey IT, on how they do business differently.
It's been 20 years, and the business has changed probably 40 times in 20 years because technology changes every year, and you have to stay with it. You have to know where it's going and prognosticate where that is, and our clients really benefit from our knowledge and our experience and the way that we're reading the roadmap. We're putting them on things that are coming out in the future, and if it's not beneficial to the client, we won't be putting them on there. And a lot of people just fly by the seat of their pants. We have a director of information technology that his job is only to scout new technologies and how they can affect a small business. Every business, no matter if it's a funeral home, a manufacturer, a car dealer, whatever, we all rely on our information. And when that information isn't available, your business is shot. So our main purpose is to really do our very best to keep people up 100% of the time, to keep them backed up and make sure that they can do what they do and we can deal with the technical stuff.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros at Turnkey so you can focus on the important things of your business. Visit turnkey.pro today.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. Rusty Paul is the most important mayor in the United States. That's right, Mayor Rusty Paul of suburban Sandy Springs, Georgia. Incorporated a little more than a decade ago, featuring a population just north of 100,000 residents, Sandy Springs, Georgia may hold the key to avoiding the nation's looming public sector pension disaster. Many politicians talk of running government like a business. In Sandy Springs, businesses literally run the government. Sporting only 7 full-time municipal employees other than police and fire, Mayor Paul competitively bids out the remaining complement of local government services to private sector operators. The result? Sandy Springs has flat taxes, no long-term debt, no pension obligations, and high customer satisfaction ratings from its residents who are surveyed regularly. Considering unfunded state and local pension obligations top $1 trillion nationally, with a hole deepening even as taxpayers are shoveling more money into it, combined with intransigent public sector unions and cowardly politicians who exhibit no desire to dig out, Sandy Springs' model of municipal government may replace the peach as Georgia's signature export.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio. I believe not only in protecting your retirement and making the growth going forward, but also having a tax-efficient retirement as well, because you want your retirement portfolios to generate an income stream that will last for your life, for your spouse's life, and if you have kids, that will pass on to the next generation as well. Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
We finally agreed on a paint color, so I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Ace is the place when you're the labor on Labor Day.
Don't miss Ace's big Labor Day weekend paint sale. Now through Monday, buy a gallon of our best Valspar Optimus, get one 50% off. Buy our best value, Clark & Kensington, get one 50% off. Only at Ace. Offer valid at participating stores on Valspar Optimus and Aspire, Clark & Kensington, and Royal Brand Paint. Sale gallons must be of equal or lesser value. Limit 2 per household while supplies last. See store for details.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, don't mess with Melania. She was threatening to litigate the tabloids that insinuated she had previously worked as a escort.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a euphemism for prostitute.
Right.
She has lived up to the threat. She's backed up that play by filing a $150 million lawsuit against the Maryland-based publisher of the Daily Mail Online and a blogger over stories that she describes were tremendously damaging. And I appreciate the fact that she uses the same adverb that Donald Trump uses, that apparently they share an affinity for tremendous.
Tremendous?
Yeah.
Well, do you think this is going to have any legs, this lawsuit? I mean, why don't you just let it go?
Melania has some legs.
Well, yes, she does. And she has very nice legs. And she's not in the escort business. But she's so offended about it that it makes me think that there might be some truth to it.
No, I mean, why? I mean, you can be
who
defamed.
Cares?
Well, I mean, why? Carol Burnett famously sued the National Enquirer for a defamatory story and got a 8-figure settlement. Eight-figure settlement is like $25 million.
What did they say about our precious Carol Burnett?
They say, sometimes it's holding people accountable for conjuring legally defamatory information out of whole cloth
and casting in a bad light. I mean, obviously, Melania is an international figure. She was before, and she certainly is more so now. And so there is reputation damage here and so forth. And the other thing, too, even though she's this public figure, you accuse someone of committing a crime, which is essentially what you're doing.
No, that's true.
That is per se defamatory if you cannot substantiate the claim.
Well, I just am glad that she's here legally.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
In the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, Americans searched for answers and reached for Ayn Rand's most famous novel, Atlas Shrugged. The 1957 novel sold an incredible 2 million copies since the crisis hit. Atlas Shrugged grapples with the fundamental questions of human existence, presenting radical new answers. Is the pursuit of profit a noble enterprise or the root of all evil? Is self-esteem possible, or are we consigned to a life of self-doubt and guilt? In what kind of a society can an individual prosper? And in what kind of a society is he doomed to the opposite fate? Ayn Rand's thought-provoking answers and intriguing characters will have you turning the pages for more. Pick up a copy of Atlas Shrugged today and visit ARIradio.com to learn more about the ideas in Ayn Rand's masterwork. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
I just love CertaPro painters. You know, they've been to our home twice now, painted our chipped front porch and my son's bedrooms. Sharp lines, vibrant colors. And you know, fall is right around the corner, the season of colors. So now is the perfect time to update your home. Whether it's a bold new warm color for the dining room or a fresh take on your home's exterior, call CertaPro painters to transform and protect your home before cold weather arrives. Plus, the holidays will be here before you know it. So now is the perfect time to give your home that updated look you've been wanting. Call now to schedule your fall painting project. 1-800-GO-CERTA. I trust CertaPro painters in my home. They were nice guys. They cleaned up after themselves. There wasn't a single drop of paint anywhere except on my beautiful walls. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated, so you'll feel confident knowing that these are local business owners who are part of your community. Call now for your free fall painting estimate at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GOCERTA. Or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, my mom's new crush, Larry Elder, will be joining us.
He's a handsome man. And Jay Cutler, very happy for Colin Kaepernick's antics because it has displaced him as the most unpopular quarterback in the NFL.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, there is a report from the Chicago City Hall that Mayor Emanuel plans to hire hundreds of police officers. We'll get an update on that story. A man denied bail in a 1991 Dixmoor rape and murder case. A Wheaton man held on child sex abuse charges. Bears wrap up the preseason with a victory over the Browns in the rain and a nice weekend ahead. Plenty of sunshine with a high of 74. Complete look at weather after Fox News. WIND, Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. A lot of Americans were hired last month, but not as many as expected. Fox's Ginny Casola details the Just Out Jobs Report live.
Dave, a slightly disappointing reading on the job market for August. The Labor Department says the unemployment rate stayed the same, 4.9%. Fox Business Network was predicting a decline to 4.8%. The number of new jobs created, 151,000, weaker than the 180,000 forecast. There was a slight increase in hourly wages, but your neighbor who gave up looking for a job apparently has not started searching for work. No change in the labor participation rate. Dave?
Jenny, the reaction on Wall Street, Dow futures are higher before the opening bell in 29 minutes. In Florida, that's what it sounded like when Hermine came ashore as the first hurricane to hit that state since 2005, knocking out power to almost all of Tallahassee. There's a lot of property damage reported in the Big Bend area, and some coastal areas are flooded, like Hudson Beach.
This is just one location in the Tampa Bay area hit hard by all of the rain, all of the wind, and the flooding that's happened here over several hours. I did have a chance to speak earlier this morning with some of the folks evacuating from areas like this. They tell me the water came in, it came through the walls in some cases, and their focus just getting their belongings to higher ground.
Shayla Reeves with Fox 13 TV. Hermine's now a tropical storm moving across Georgia, and a lot of rain from there through the Carolina coast. The day after Donald Trump sued the Daily Mail and a Maryland blogger for publishing what he says is a false story about his wife Melania being involved in an escort service, the British publication has issued a retraction saying it never intended to suggest that the allegations were true. He didn't sit. He took a knee this time. Colin Kaepernick again refused to stand for the national anthem. And then the 49ers quarterback was booed as he took the field before a preseason game with the Chargers on NFL Network. Kaepernick in this controversial protest on what he sees as what's wrong in America. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine this getaway Friday morning, 65 degrees. 8:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. There is an investigation underway at this hour after two were found dead in a burned-out minivan on Chicago's southwest side. Police say fire crews discovered the bodies early this morning after extinguishing that blaze near 31st Street and South Harding Avenue. Mayor Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times the mayor's planning to hire hundreds of additional officers. O'Connor says the city's dealing with a staff shortage in the department that can no longer be addressed with overtime. Meantime, the FOP is repeating its call for officers to resist working overtime shifts for Labor Day weekend. Governor Browner has laid off 29 IDOT employees, patronage employees, he says, who are among those improperly hired based on their political connections. A Republican saying he issued the notices yesterday to the so-called staff assistants hired by skirting personnel rules under two previous Democratic governors. A church deacon in suburban Roselle is accused of sexually assaulting a young girl. Timothy Peltz appeared in DuPage County courtroom yesterday on charges of predatory criminal sexual assault. Peltz served as a deacon at Living Hope Bible Church in Roselle. Chicago sports. Bears wrap up the NFL preseason with a win over Cleveland 21-7. College football kicks off. Western Illinois, a winner over Eastern Illinois 38-21. Cubs over San Francisco 5-4. And the White Sox fell to the Twins 8-5 at Target Field. The news service of Little Caesars, home of the large $5 hot and ready pepperoni pizza. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Lillian Wu.
From the Fox Business Network, Samsung Galaxy Note 7 owners being told to turn them in just about 2 weeks after the smartphone's launch because of serious battery problems. Users reporting they caught fire while charging. The scale of the recall unprecedented for Samsung. Another South Korean company, LG Electronics, says it's partnering with Amazon on smart home devices, one plan enabling the Alexa virtual assistant on some appliances. Google's parent company reportedly suspending an effort to build what's known as a modular smartphone with interchangeable components, the aim of Project Era to create a phone users could customize on the fly. And Hillary Clinton talking about taking on medication prices. The Democratic presidential nominee today rolling out a plan against what she calls excessive, unjustified costs for drugs that have been on the market for a long time. She says it'll give the government more power to push back. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lillian Wu.
It's 8:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Marxists, socialists, and communists forget the government doesn't have any money.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
Except money it took from someone who is producing money. Government creates no money. The only way the government has money is if it took it from one of us. And so the only way that it would have money to give these people is if it took more from the other people. Thus, Marxism, communism.
Dave Ramsey, weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you worried how the election, global events, and the current economy might affect your retirement? Listen to Grow My Retirement, Saturdays at 2 with Bill Geiger, Chicago's retirement planning advisor. Bill helps you translate complex retirement issues into easy-to-understand steps to help you create a retirement income you can't outlive.
The important thing of this show is not when the next downturn is coming, but to have your portfolio and your retirement plan ready for it.
Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger, Saturday at 2 p.m. on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson, candidate for President of the United States, and I approve this message. If a Democrat is elected president, if a Republican is elected president, in 4 years we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? Because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
8:07. Check the roads this morning in our AM 560 traffic center. The very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Heading westbound on I-80, traffic is really heavy from around Francis Road to past Briggs. There's a crash on the right shoulder. Eastbound Adams Tollway I-90, it's a solid mess from 25 to the 4 Roselle Road after an earlier crash. The Edens is fine inbound, and outbound it's just a 3-minute delay from Peterson to Toohey. The inbound Kennedy is now 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, and there's a crash at Keeler in the left lane. Outbound 30 minutes downtown to O'Hare. The Eisenhower's an hour and 15 minutes Thorndale to the post office, an hour and 2 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 45 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan 25 minutes from 95th to the Loop. Northbound Tri-State delays from Archer to LaGrange Road, from the Stevenson to 47th. Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Veterans Memorial heavy, 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Lake Street to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Sunshine today with a high 74, clear night, low 57. Tomorrow, sunshine with a high 77 and a partly cloudy night, low 59. Mostly sunny for Sunday, high of 82. Clear night, Sunday night, low 63. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Sunny and 65 right now. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Good morning. Welcome to your Friday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Well, I think it's a misunderstanding. You know, the media painted this as anti-American, anti-men and women of the military, and that's not the case at all.
I am going to create a new special deportation task force.
I argued, and I think most people on the council did, for a bit of a softer tone than he decided on.
This same speech has been given throughout our history against the Irish, against Italian-American immigrants, against Jews coming from Eastern Europe.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Amy, I was talking about Father Pfleger and the call for Chicago to be declared a state of emergency and his antagonism towards the president of the Chicago FOP. And I'm thinking about this. So all the coverage that a demagogue like Father Pfleger gets here in Chicago and frankly nationally, and compare that just a week earlier, 1,000 people participated in a procession at St. John Cantius across town at like River West, like Chicago and Carpenter, where Chicago police carried the world-famous statue of Our Lady of Fatima in a procession to Mass at St. John Cantius. So that coming together that involved Chicago police gets no coverage. And Father Pfleger spilling fake blood on the street to make out SOS and turning a flag upside down to indicate distress, that gets dominant coverage in Chicago press corps. And it kind of is a corollary to the kind of coverage that Colin Kaepernick is getting for him bringing attention to this issue that, according to Colin Kaepernick, no one was talking about. This yesterday after the Chargers-49ers game in which he and teammate Eric Reed, safety on the 49ers, knelt down rather than sat down to show a little bit more respect after they had a conversation with the long snapper for the 49ers, who's Green Beret. Kaepernick explaining the message that he's delivering, doing his Freddie Boom Boom Washington impersonation.
The message is that we have a lot of issues in this country that we need to deal with. We have a lot of people that are oppressed. We have a lot of people that aren't treated equally, aren't given equal opportunities. Police brutality is a huge thing that needs to be addressed. There are a lot of issues that need to be talked about, need to be brought to life, and we need to fix those things.
Yeah, it's brought to light, not brought to life, but okay. And the way to fix those things, the way to address them is to wear socks that have the image of a pig with a police
depicting cops as pigs with the pig and the cop hat on. But he said he's been wearing that all season long.
Well,
We're just catching up on it now.
I can't wait to see his regular season hosiery. That's going to be great. Well, for more on this topic, he wrote a very interesting op-ed on the topic of Colin Kaepernick and his quote-unquote fight against racism. We're happy to be joined by the sage of South Central, part of the Salem family. He is Larry Elder, host of the Larry Elder Show. He's out of L.A., of course, but he streams 3 to 6 p.m. That's Pacific time, 1 to 4 p.m. Central time, of course. Larry Elder, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan and Andy, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So you wrote a piece that was posted on RealClearPolitics.com. People can take a review, but why don't you give us the thesis of your piece and your review of Colin Kaepernick's antics over the last week or so?
Boy, where to start? Let's start with this. You have to be an industrial-strength idiot to bitch, moan, and whine about racism and oppression while wearing a Fidel Castro T-shirt, as Colin Kaepernick did the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, just start there. But apart from, of course, insulting the men and women who've served in our military, many of whom have died, apart from not recognizing that here in America, blacks have more opportunities, are more prosperous, make more money, are more upwardly mobile than any other blacks in any other part of the world, including all of those countries in Africa. Apart from all of that, the whole Black Lives Matter movement is a lie. Michael Brown did not have his hands up, did not say don't shoot. It's not true that there's an epidemic of cops mowing down black people. In fact, according to the CDC, in the last 45 years, cops shooting blacks are down 75%. Twice as many whites are shot by cops as compared to blacks. Now, it's true that 25% or so of the people shot and killed by cops are black, and blacks are just 13% of the population, but that has to do with substantially higher rates of offending. A black teenager is 9 times more likely to kill somebody compared to a white teenager. That's why the cops are there. The whole thing is a lie.
Well,
are there individual officers who engage in misconduct? Of course there are. And when that happens, they're called to account. The guy, Walter Scott, shot in the back. The officer is being charged with murder. But for the most part, these high-profile cases involve a black suspect who is resisting arrest or using some sort of firearm to go after a police officer. 965 people were killed by the police last year, according to the Washington Post. Less than 4% were white cops shooting an unarmed black person. It is rare. 250 black people were killed last year by the police. 400 Americans were injured last year by lightning. It is rare. What's not rare is what's going on in your town, in Chicago. They're on pace for 700 homicides, as you know. Chicago's about a third white, a third black, and a third Hispanic. 70% of these homicides are black on black, and 75% of them are unsolved. That's just one town.
Well, back to Colin Kaepernick. Do you think he's late to the party? I mean, why now? Why not last year that he decided to take a stand? What do you think who got to him to make him feel and act this way?
My understanding is he converted to Islam. He's got a Muslim girlfriend, and maybe she has some sort of influence on him, which is again bizarre, because Arab slavers were involved in the slave trade hundreds of years before European slavers were, continued engaged in slavery well after Europeans stopped, and there are parts of the Arab world like Chad, Mauritania, and Sudan where slavery is still going on. If he really wants to talk about oppression and racism, how come he doesn't talk about that? It's just bizarre. This is a guy who's half black, half white, like Obama, raised by white parents. Instead of appreciating that and appreciating the willingness of white parents to take him in, he's bitching and moaning about racism. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just, he's still learning all this stuff, Larry. You got to give him time. He's just getting up to speed. He thought he would just make a foray with a symbol, and then people are starting to ask him questions, and he's not really prepared to answer them. But the other thing that's interesting about this story, and important to the story, is because of the importance of sport in America and the impact on culture. And obviously, we're talking about San Francisco 49ers quarterback and his view on Black Lives Matter, as if anybody looks to Colin Kaepernick for social commentary. But here's the thing that's happened that's very interesting about the NFL, this $10 billion enterprise. So they wouldn't let the Dallas Cowboys put a decal on their helmet to memorialize the 5 police officers assassinated in Dallas. But they're unwilling to take a stand and take a position on what Colin Kaepernick has said and done. And it speaks to how pervasive political correctness is, how hypocritical it is, and how it will undermine sport just like it undermines the rest of the culture.
I couldn't agree more. And people are talking about this as if it's a First Amendment issue. It is not. The First Amendment is designed to stop the government from restricting political speech. A private actor like the NFL or the NBA, for that matter, could stop him from standing if they want to. In fact, the NBA has a rule that you've got to stand in a dignified fashion. If he were in the NBA, they'd make him. And for people that are talking about what a courageous stance it is, please. This guy gives up nothing. He signed an over $100 million contract, $61 million are guaranteed. And as I pointed out, he has permission from the NFL to stand up. This is not like John Carlos and Tommy Smith in 1968 in Mexico. Those guys got kicked out of the Olympic Village, and whatever endorsements they would have had, they lost them. Curt Flood is the guy that challenged the baseball reserve clause, went all the way to the Supreme Court. He ultimately lost, and then basically never played again. That's a guy who gave people like Colin Kaepernick an opportunity to play for all this kind of money because they could become free agents and get these big-time contracts. It's not like Muhammad Ali, who lost 3.5 years of his prime career, was banned from boxing, lost a whole boatload of money. This guy loses nothing other than endorsements, which he wasn't getting anyway because he's a mediocre quarterback.
Well,
he's already to be cut.
And he might not even make the 53-man roster.
That's a great point.
But he said if he does make the team that he's going to continue this throughout the season. Do you hope that maybe the media doesn't focus in on him on the sidelines when the national anthem's being sung?
If the guy really wants to do something, I'm not one of those who tells people what to do with their own money, but why don't you fund some of these police stations that don't have the money for dash cams and body cams? Because that's really what we need to find out. When you have dash cams and body cams, you have a lot more evidence, and it changes the behavior of both the police and the citizens. Out here in California, there's a city called Rialto, 68,000 people. The cops did not want dash cams and body cams, but they made them. And it turns out police uses of force went down, and complaints about police uses of force went down dramatically. It improved the conduct on both sides. If you really want to do something to improve things, do that.
I want to get your take, switching gears on the presidential race. Peggy Noonan had an interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal today. Can anxiety beat depression in November? And she's essentially saying that Trump represents anxiety because of his unpredictability, to be generous, is sometimes his erratic rhetoric. And Hillary represents depression because we know exactly what we're going to get with Hillary. 70% of the people find her untrustworthy because she's a congenital liar, so that's a good reason. But that's the choice. It's which quality are you going to be less uncomfortable with, anxiety or depression? Is that the way that you look at it?
No, I really don't. The reason that Donald Trump got elected is because Republicans are really, really upset with the Republican Party establishment, with promises made. If you get us elected, we're going to stop Obamacare. We're going to stop his executive orders. All these promises that were made to Republican voters, these guys get in, and they can't do it. Donald Trump comes along and says, you guys are all talk. He's a business guy who's done a lot of stuff, and a lot of people are convinced he's going to be able to pull off things that Republicans can't. But the primary reason that Hillary is in trouble is that she represents a third term of Obama, and when you really get down to it, it is still the economy stupid. 2/3 of the American people believe we're on the wrong track, and Hillary's made no criticism whatsoever of Obama's economic policies. Nothing. She hasn't criticized Obamacare, of course. She hasn't criticized raising taxes on people, of course. She hasn't criticized all the billions of dollars in new regulations that have strangled businesses. She hasn't criticized his crusade about climate change. There's nothing about his agenda that she dislikes. And if you're somebody who believes that you're working harder and longer and making less money, what is it that makes you believe that the next 4 years are going to be any better than the last 8 years? That's why Donald Trump is doing well. And by the way, I predict he's going to win.
All right. Hey, Larry Elder, my mom lives in Tucson, Arizona, and she absolutely loves you. And she was so impressed that I met you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Is your mom single?
Yes, she is. I put out a tweet, so you have to see the tweet. I just tweeted you yet.
All right.
All right, little Match.com here with Larry Elder.
That's what I do.
Larry Elder has been our guest. He, of course, is the host of the Larry Elder Show. He's a recipient of a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That's
Longest
right.
running afternoon drive time show in Chicago, KRLA AM 870 in LA, 1 to 4 p.m. Central Time. You can get the live stream here in Chicago. LarryElder.com is the website. Larry Elder, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Regarding the Hollywood Star of Fame, see what happens when you make a contribution to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, there you
Hey,
go.
hey.
That's why he's the best in the business. Larry Elder, thanks. Appreciate it.
Have a great
My
weekend.
pleasure.
Yeah, and he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, it's so great. Okay, forecast is great too. Plenty of sunshine for the next 3 days. You cannot ask for a better 3-day Labor Day weekend, that's for sure. High today of 74, and then it gets warmer. 77 on Saturday, and on Sunday and Monday, a return to the heat in the mid-80s on Sunday, and on Monday for Labor Day, warm, a high in the upper 80s. High travel times, let's get the latest. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. The eastbound Adams Tollway is brutal. Now there's another crash. This one's at Beverly Road. It's a rollover. 2 right lanes are blocked. It is jammed from the Fox River to Beverly. And we have delays past that. Barrington Road to before Roselle after an earlier collision. Westbound I-80, stop and go. Francis Road to past Briggs with a crash on the right shoulder. The Edens, on the other hand, is delay-free now in both directions. Not Kennedy, it's improved just 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Locals are quicker than the Express, and outbound just a 6-minute delay Lawrence to Sayre. The Eisenhower is an hour and 5 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 40 minutes. Stevenson, 58 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, delays are northbound from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Northbound Veterans Memorial, slow 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
You know what? It kind of Larry and Louise, huh?
Yeah, kissing in a tree, Kissing. If that doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out with Larry Elder, maybe think about Mom for the Bachelorette.
Oh, that's right. Oh, please. Hey, if you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing mortgage, then you should do what I did and call David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. Tammy's heard hundreds of David's ads, but wanted to contact a realtor before getting pre-qualified by David to purchase a home in Buffalo Grove. Bad move, says David. Not getting pre-qualified by David before speaking with a realtor is like getting tax advice from Willie Nelson. David answered Tammy's questions, pre-qualified her to purchase a home, and introduced her to Gary Ellis, his Home Sweet Home Chicago radio show's realtor who covers Buffalo Grove. Purchasing a home can be overwhelming, don't you know? But it won't be if you call David first. David can pre-qualify you for free and introduce you to his team of preferred realtors who will help you locate that perfect home. If you're purchasing a home, the first and only call to make is to David at 312-751-1333, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Next spring, I want my lawn to be the best lawn on the block.
I told Anthony if he wants the best lawn, he's going to have to start preparing this fall with Scott's Turf Builder.
Ace is the place that's 2 seasons ahead. Spoiler alert, the lawn ends up looking great.
Now through Labor Day, get up to $5 in instant savings on select Scott's lawn food. Ace Rewards members save instantly in-store. Selection varies by region. Store stock only. See participating stores for details.
Do you think identity theft is only when someone adds charges to your credit card? It's actually when someone pretends to be you, to open new accounts in your name or any number of bad things. LifeLock can help. We use proprietary technology to alert you to a huge range of identity threats. And if you have a problem, we have a team of U.S.-based specialists who will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Membership starts at $9.99 a month, plus applicable taxes. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off.
When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller, the mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
Wish we could talk about what we were just talking about off air, but
No,
don't
you keep your
dare.
Brock Turner comments to yourself. Let's take a couple calls. Hey, Frank in Tinley Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I wonder how Coach Ellis or Coach Lombardi would have handled this situation.
Oh, it would have been great. Or Coach Ditka. I mean, I think he'd grab him by the collar and make him stand up.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Who would have beaten the crap out of Colin Kaepernick worse? Woody Hayes, Lombardi, Ditka, Chuck Noll, I think he could throw in there. Oh, man, that's funny. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Bob and
thanks
Downers.
for coming to work today.
Yeah, Bob in Downers Grove.
I just wanted to first say I don't agree with what Kaepernick is doing, but I find it interesting that we've made him the whipping post. It's so easy to just pick on him and what he's doing. I mean, he is goofy after all. But it speaks to the bigger issue. All of these people that are loading social media all about Kaepernick, they seem to forget and leave out the fact, how do we address the fact that he has many, many soldiers that are backing him and stand side by side with him in what he's doing? How do we address the soldiers that are doing it? That's the bigger issue to me.
Well, I think
that we have our own soldiers. Now, do they have the right to complain because they serve, yet Kaepernick doesn't? Is that the angle we're going to take?
Come on. That's silly. You have some soldiers saying he has a right to express himself as an American. Of course he does. Nobody disagrees with that. We're commenting on the substance of his expression. So his expression begets more expression. So defending his right, nobody needs to defend his right. We all agree he has the right to do it. I mean, although his employer could make a different decision about that, but as an American, he certainly has the right to do it. Big deal. So we're commenting on the substance and what he's being used as a whipping boy, as you say, because of the underlying ignorance of his statement and his representation as some kind of appointed spokesman for Black Lives Matter, which also deserves some exchanges of free expression. That's all, Bob. Thanks for the call.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Want to see what you'd look like if you had a flatter belly? Now's your chance, because for a limited time, we're giving away free trials of Somabiotics, the new discovery that flattens bloated bellies fast. But hurry and call now while we're still giving it away for free. 1-800-906-9985. Strict limit of 1 free trial per household. These free trials are reserved for anyone, male or female, who's looking for maximum belly flattening in minimum time. Somabiotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Want to see what you'd look like with a flatter belly? Now's your chance. But hurry, call now for details while we're still giving these trials of Somabiotics away for free. 1-800-906-9985. That's 1-800-906-9985. If lines are busy, try again. 1-800-906-9985.
Oh, do you think Brock Turner will end up on Dancing with the Stars? I mean, he is an ex-swimmer from Stanford.
It's too soon. He just walked out.
Okay. ChicagoRadioDeals.com wants you to take some time for yourself to relax, renew, recharge. And here's the perfect way to lower your stress level and bring balance to your life. Make a visit to the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange. Your stress begins to disappear when you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave or float on a bed of water that envelops you in color and warmth. Make time for deep relaxation in the Aqua Massage bed or feel renewed with the Ionic Detox Footbath. Experience it all now with packages that include 1 salt cave session plus either 1 aqua massage or aqua escape session or that detox foot bath session. Packages are normally $65 to $70, only $40 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Now, Primal Ocean Salt Cave spa treatments are a great way to take a vacation from every day. Plus, you can stay fully clothed and dry the entire time. You'll love how calm and refreshed you'll feel. So if you haven't tried this yet, do it now. The Primal Ocean Salt Cave deals are very limited. For more healthy deals, just visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Guccifer got sentenced, and Hillary Clinton should be. We'll talk to Catherine Herridge, Chief Intelligence Correspondent for Fox News Channel at 8:38.
And why porn is for losers, according to Pamela Anderson. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
66 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Tropical storm Hermine roared across southern Georgia this early morning after wreaking havoc on Tallahassee, Florida. Hermine weakened from a hurricane that slammed into Florida around 1:30 this morning into that tropical storm, now a tropical depression. Many Florida communities are flooded out. More than a foot of rain fell early this morning. The nation's job creation machine stuck in very low gear last month, adding only 151,000 new jobs in August. The nation will soon find out who Hillary Clinton met with when she was Secretary of State. The State Department reversing course and will now release the records in mid-October, that way before Election Day. Former Stanford University swimmer Brock Turner is out of jail. Turner is serving just half of his 6-month sentence for sexually assaulting an unconscious and intoxicated woman last year. Turner made no comment as he exited the Santa Clara County Main Jail in San Jose. The judge who gave him that light sentence is facing a recall effort. Samsung recalling all Galaxy Note 7 smartphones after some users reported that their devices caught fire. An investigation is underway here in Chicago after 2 were found dead in a burned-out minivan on Chicago's southwest side near 31st and South Harding. And Mayor Emanuel could be bringing in reinforcements to deal with Chicago's violence problem. Alderman Pat O'Connor telling the Sun-Times the mayor may plan to hire hundreds of additional police officers. Chicago sports. Thursday NFL, the preseason wraps up with the Bears win over Cleveland 21-7. Major League Baseball, Cubs over San Francisco 5-4, and Minnesota beat the White Sox 8-5. The News, a service of Little Caesars, home of the $5 hot and ready pepperoni pizza. Little Caesars, where they took pieces of their delicious crazy bread, then covered them with melted cheese and bacon, threw in a side of jalapenos, and created loaded crazy bread bites, hot and ready every day from 4 to 8, and only $4 plus tax at participating locations. 8:34 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees a shift in Donald Trump.
His speeches have been only getting better. He has been more on message. He has spoken most effectively on ISIS, on terrorism, on race relations, and on his worldview of why he wants to be president. It's been a good week for Donald Trump. And there are a number of polls that suggest that and reflect that.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Cabela's Fall Great Outdoor Days are finally here. Find great deals on all your favorite brands. Don't miss out on their largest sale of the season at Cabela's in Hoffman Estates and Hammond.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. Born and raised in Chicagoland, my partners and I knew this city needed a locally owned business bank. As fellow entrepreneurs, we know the challenges facing businesses, and we are invested in our customers' success. We are here to build mutually beneficial, long-term, lasting relationships with our customers. We look forward to helping our customers reach their goals every day, and we are here to see them succeed. At Signature Bank, you work directly with decision makers who understand your business and can deliver on their promises.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It is 8:36. Let's get an update on the ride around town in our AM 560 traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Adams Tollway has heavy delays from 31 to Beverly Road with a rollover crash in the right lane. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. The Reagan Tollway is wide open. Veterans Memorial just a little sluggish from Maple to the Reagan Tollway. And the Edens is delay-free in both directions. But the inbound Kennedy, stop and go Lawrence to the Burn Circle. 36 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 25 from Montrose, but 30 in the Express. Outbound, there's a 6-minute delay from Lawrence to Sayre. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 40 minutes. To Stevenson, 55 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34. Bryan is 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, slow southbound Wilson to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. I-80 westbound heavy after a crash past Briggs. Eastbound it's okay. We see no delays in northwest Indiana. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A nice day, plenty of sunshine ahead, high 74. Currently 66. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
See Alan West and Michelle Malkin at Freedom Summit Chicago 2016. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Hey, hey, hey. Dan Prof Dan. Are you going to do your dance?
Wow.
Come on, sing it
like
right
that.
now.
I can't
No,
go.
I
I can't go that high. No, I can't go that high. I can only talk, sing Blurred Lines, but it's appropriate because of the blurred lines between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department during her tenure as Secretary of State. Washington Post reporting a new set of Hillary Clinton emails that were released by Judicial Watch, of course.
Yeah,
the Shadow Attorney General, the Attorney General's Office, Shadow Department of Justice, show that the new batch includes exchange from July 2009 between Clinton Foundation official Douglas Band and Mrs. Carlos Danger for diplomatic passports for himself and two others, saying theirs had lapsed. Miss Abedin writing back, okay, we'll figure it out. Well, that's kind of a curious thing. Mr. Band ultimately went on to found this company called Teneo as well, which had the Clinton Foundation as a client, as well as they were a contributor. Bill Clinton was a client. They had people like Huma Abedin, working for Teneo while she was also at the State Department. And it's just the issue of diplomatic passports. There are benefits to diplomatic passports, which is why they're not given out to even State Department staff. They're the privilege of former presidents, perhaps.
So it's reserved for just former presidents?
Well, you have diplomatic passports in diplomats, easy passage at international borders, access to special lines at airports, no tax liability on certain sources of income. Hello. And relaxed visa restrictions. So you don't give them out to public affairs, private citizens in the public affairs or lobbying arena, of course. But that seems to be some of what was afoot. And, of course, we learn new things every day as emails that were attempted to be destroyed are recovered, at least some of them that weren't bleached out. But for more on this, including the sentencing of Guccifer, the Romanian hacker responsible for hacking into some of these email accounts and perhaps funneling that information over to WikiLeaks for subsequent publication. We're happy to be joined again by Catherine Herridge. She's the chief intelligence correspondent for Fox News Channel, of course. Catherine, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't we start with Guccifer? He got 4.5 years, but Romania wants him back.
That's right. He got 52 months. Guccifer's claim to fame is that he is the person who first exposed the use of this ClintonEmail.com account in 2013 after he hacked the personal email of one of Clinton's advisors, Sidney Blumenthal. So it seems somewhat ironic that the hacker who exposed the account gets over 4 years in jail, and the people who use that account and were I'm just, it's really quite, remarkable. But in any event, nothing in that story has been usual. He also claimed to us in an interview that he had access to Clinton's server. The FBI director said that there was no evidence to back up that claim. In any event, Guccifer has been cooperating with U.S. agencies and investigators, but Romania wants him back now.
So where does it go from here then? If Romania wants him back?
Even the judge was kind of taken aback by the request, because the way it usually works is when the U.S. government makes a request and they extradite someone, taking a lot of time, effort, and expense, they expect him to be here or she to be here for a while and to serve jail time. In this case, it looks like he may go back immediately to Romania. So all of that just for 3 months here in the U.S. and limited cooperation. It's more than a bit bizarre. But the final point I would say about Guccifer is because of the way his guilty plea was constructed, there's absolutely no mention of the hacking of the Sidney Blumenthal account, and there's no mention about how he exposed the ClintonEmail.com account, which is how the whole ball got rolling here. And so it effectively whitewashes that whole thing. That's what kind of jumps out at me. It's like he never had any connection to this episode whatsoever.
Well, and that ball's still rolling, all the emails that have been discovered and continue to be discovered. And you wrote, along with Pamela Brown, a piece about a kind of revelation in a newly released batch of emails. Tell us about one Dennis Chang as that pertains to the blurred lines between the State Department and the Clinton Foundation.
Right. Well, we've heard a lot about some of Clinton's closest aides, but someone who is really very much under the radar, and in fact it's very hard to even find images of him on the web. The only image we were able to really verify were a couple of pictures from his time at the State Department, where he had a job called Deputy Chief of Protocol, and this is basically the greeter for all the heads of state. And this is an extremely important job because they're the point person for these governments, and Dennis Chang has always had a role either before this job or after this job with the Clinton campaign or with the foundation, being what I would describe as the bag man, like the money man. The Clinton Foundation, he was able to secure donations approaching $250 million. So this job at the State Department made him a key fixer between the foundation and the department and Mrs. Clinton as Secretary of State. We tried to get in touch with him to get a response. We did not get one. But it's just another interesting example of this I'll say sort of the overlap between these different entities.
Well, what did these emails show? Like, what was he responsible for doing?
Well, as I said, he was the deputy chief of protocol, and this means that he was greeting heads of state when she was Secretary of State. So he was really the point person for these people. But when you start to look at how many former senior government officials in foreign countries came to participate in the Clinton Foundation or donate money to the Clinton Foundation or steer money towards the Clinton Foundation, it's really remarkable. And he had these existing relationships. I'm not saying there's anything that was illegal about that, but it seemed another example of how his position allowed sort of the exploitation of these relationships to the benefit of many parties.
It's almost with all these emails being released and kind of piecemeal revealed as the State Department releases them per court order, you almost have to put together like the old mob crime family tree to understand all of kind of the interlocking directorates and the connections between different individuals at the center of this Clinton enterprise. And by enterprise, I mean the State Department plus the Clinton Foundation. And perhaps the chief lieutenant, if I can continue the metaphor, is Huma Abedin, who continues to come up in these emails as you described, Mr. Chang, a fixer. The person who either would fix things herself or would route things to be fixed, things that maybe were inappropriate, like the story today in the Wall Street Journal about diplomatic passports for non-diplomatic personnel.
Right. Well, the diplomatic passports, the statement that we have is that these passports in the end were not granted, and that they were part of this effort to free these American journalists who were in North Korea. Nonetheless, there are extremely rigid rules when it comes to the granting of these passports because of the special access and privileges that they provide, and it does seem to be another example of how they were leveraging their position at the State Department to help the foundation. In this particular case, Bill Clinton helped secure the release of the two Americans, which is a very good thing. No one would argue against that. But again, it's this tight, sort of seamless relationship which seems to make people uncomfortable because these are not the kind of favors your average person would be able to get or the kind of access the average person would be able to receive.
Well, and the other thing that the average charity doesn't get away with is not complying with all of the filing requirements for charities and reconciling the books and these sorts of things. And you've had news organizations, including Fox News, of course, as well as kind of independent financial analysts like Charles Ortel, who just look at publicly available documents, and you can't square the circle with donations reported versus donations reported being given versus donations being reported as received. The numbers don't add up. There's no audits. And so it just seems like in this era where transparency is a word that politicians like to throw around, you have a foundation that's not complying with the strictures that regulate C3s. And, what does that say in terms of thinking about a possible president of the United States?
Mm-hmm. One of the things that sort of strikes me in the conversation about the foundation is if you take the position, which many Democrats are taking, that it's not okay for the Clintons to be participants in the foundation if she's elected president, I don't understand why it's okay now or why it was okay when she was secretary, because this is a very senior position as well. I don't understand why going to the highest job in the land really shuts the door on the foundation, but these other positions did not. And then
Catherine, what do you know about those 30 deleted emails where she used a bleach bit to remove information so no one could ever find it?
Okay, so the FBI investigation was able to recover 14,900 records that they felt were government records. And they provided them to the State Department back in July when the criminal investigation into the mishandling of classified information was closed by the FBI. Among those 14,900 records are as many as 30 that are related to Benghazi. What we don't know is whether these are emails that were deleted and we've never seen them before, or whether they're emails that are already posted online through these different media requests for records. It's not clear to me that these records were deleted using BleachBit. I think when you start doing the math, what you see is that there are some records that were never recovered out of the total, and some records, because there were multiple servers used over the 4 years, depending on where you were in the timeline with the servers, different types of technology were used. So I'm not confident yet that these 14,000 were recovered by the FBI, because BleachBit is even difficult for the FBI because it's like an electronic shredder. It scrambles the information. But in any event, it looks like there may be more Benghazi records, and the worst case scenario would be if some of these records included the word Benghazi or attack or terrorist or Ansar al-Sharia, one of the groups that was responsible, and it was still deleted, because then it makes you think of the search terms they used to determine what was government business and what was personal were, extremely narrow.
Yeah, and
something like that.
Yeah, and it would you'd have to revisit Jim Comey's intent argument again. All right, she's Catherine Herridge, Chief Intelligence Correspondent for Fox News. Catherine, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Oh, plenty of sunshine this Labor Day weekend. Really just, you couldn't ask for a better 3-day weekend. Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 74. Saturday, 77. Sunday, 82. And on Monday, your Labor Day, sunshine, very warm, a high in the upper 80s. Any travel times that are high? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Well, Amy, there's a bit of a traffic mess in Mount Prospect. Familiar territory for you. The traffic is backed up on Oakton. The rail crossing gates are stuck down near Bussey. Delays on eastbound Lake Cook and Riverwood at Saunders, a stalled truck. Kennedy, travel time was going down, but now it's gone up again. There's a crash at Pulaski in the left lane. We're looking at about 42 minutes, so here to downtown. Quicker now in the Express, outbound just 25 minutes. The Edens is delay-free. The Eisenhower's an hour from Thorndale to the post office. On the Stevenson, we're looking at 50 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway jammed, 31 to Beverly with a crash in the right lane. Northbound Tri-State heavy from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. The other tollways are fine. Northwest Indiana clear. Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
When flipping houses, there's one golden rule. Cash talks. I'm going to show you how you can easily get $10,000 plus all the cash you'll ever need for free. I'm Andrew Holmes, popular radio show host and founder of Chicago's #1 flipping team. And I've flipped over 600 houses in Chicago right under your nose. And now I'm going to show you how. I'm holding a free seminar right here in the Chicagoland area where I'll give a select few the opportunity to use my funding to flip houses and net up to $40,000 per deal without spending a dime of your own money. You don't need good credit and you don't need any of your own money. If the deal is good, you'll get the funds. The first 100 people to call 844-MONEY40 and register will receive my Blueprint to Real Estate Wealth system for free. All you have to do is find a great deal and pass it on to me and I'll give you $10,000. Time is running out. Seating is very limited. Call 844-MONEY40. That's 844-MONEY40.
It's back. The biggest conservative event in the Midwest returns this October. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2016. October 29th in Itasca, featuring Alan West, Michelle Malkin, Mike Gallagher, Stephen Moore, Dan Pra, Amy Jacobson, Joe Walsh, and many more. Tickets start at just $29. Order your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Dr. Amy and Associates, the Federal Savings Bank, and by Combined Sales.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
About 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store without having to stop and rest. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
MJ Miller & Company encourages you to close your eyes unless you're driving and picture this month's birthstone, the sapphire. You are likely envisioning a brilliant blue stone. Actually, sapphires can be found in every color except red. All sapphires are identified by their vivid color saturation, regardless of hue. Because of this, sapphires are sure to make an impact in any jewelry item you choose. Plus, they are the hardest surface on Earth next to the diamond, making them ideal for everyday wear. Princess Kate is never pictured without her sapphire engagement ring. The same will be said about you and your new sapphire treasure, chosen with care at MJ Miller & Company. MJ Miller is at 123 West Main Street in Barrington, next to Egg Harbor. They're open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday until 6, Saturday until 5, and every Thursday evening until 8. Call 847-381-7900 or visit mjmillerjewelers.com. MJ Miller & Company. I love them, your trusted family jeweler.
Who's there?
Falling off.
Falling off who?
Falling off pain patch.
What?
Don't be fooled by the knock-knocks. Get the relief you deserve with Blue Emu's Lidocare pain relief patches. Our narcotic-free, maximum-strength adhesion formula with dry technology won't have you worrying about a corny knock-knock joke.